Good morning, my dear friend. The first light of dawn is brushing against the edges of the sky. The air is cool and soft, carrying the faint scent of earth and promise. Somewhere beyond your window, the world is waking, the birds beginning their quiet rehearsals, the trees stretching toward the warmth that has not yet arrived. This is the holiest hour of the day, when night still whispers, but the sun is already near. In this fragile in-between, heaven feels closer, as if God himself is leaning near enough to listen to the thoughts we have not yet spoken. Maybe this morning finds you weary. Perhaps the night behind you was long, filled with worries that refuse to sleep, an illness that lingers, a relationship that feels broken beyond repair, a silence from someone you love, or simply the dull ache of uncertainty about tomorrow. You may have tried to be strong, hiding the tears that fell quietly into your pillow. You may have whispered into the darkness, asking why the pain will not end, why the answers seem delayed, why peace feels so far away. If that is you, know this: you are not alone in the struggle between despair and hope. Every soul that has ever longed for light understands this sacred tension. There is a story told of a woman who used to rise before sunrise, even when her heart was heavy with loss. Her husband had passed, her children had moved far away, and her days had grown painfully silent. Yet each morning, she would stand at her window with a cup of tea and whisper, "I will watch for the light." At first, she saw nothing but darkness, but day after day, as she kept her silent vigil, she noticed how the faintest glow began to spread sooner than before. The light did not remove her grief, but it changed her posture. It taught her that dawn always comes, even if the night feels endless. Her quiet faith became a prayer that spoke louder than words. She believed that light would find her again. That is what this time together is about. It is an invitation to turn your gaze from the wave of the night toward the promise of morning. Prayer is not only about asking for change, it is about being changed. It is the gentle act of opening your clenched hands so that something new can be placed within them. It is the courage to trust that even when you cannot see God working, He is weaving redemption through every shadow. In these next moments, you are invited to slow your breathing, to release the noise of yesterday, and to step barefoot into the quiet ground of faith. This is not a performance. It is a conversation, a meeting place between your longing and God's love. You do not need perfect words, only an open heart. Let this morning become a sanctuary where your tears are understood, where your fears are named, and where your hope is renewed. As the sun rises, so too can your spirit. So, my dear friend, wherever you are, sitting by a window, walking beside the sea, or wrapped in the hush of a small room, allow yourself to feel the warmth of this promise. God is here, and He is ready to speak peace into the places that still tremble. Let us begin this journey of prayer. One breath, one whisper, one heartbeat at a time, trusting that the light now touching the horizon will soon fill your whole life. Dear Heavenly Father, the morning light has touched the horizon, and my heart awakens to the stillness of this sacred hour. The world is quiet now. Only the faint songs of dawn rise to greet you in this gentle calm. I come before you not with polished words, but with a soul that simply longs to be near you. The night behind me carried its share of restlessness, and though I tried to silence the noise within, I know I cannot find true peace apart from you. So here I am, Lord, breathing in your presence, exhaling the burdens that linger like shadows around my spirit. You see every corner of my heart, both the light I show and the darkness I hide. You know the thoughts that weigh me down before I can even speak them aloud. I bring them all to you now. The worry that clings to the future, the regret that echoes from yesterday, the fear that whispers in the spaces between. I lay them down, Father, because I have carried them far too long. I have wrestled with them through sleepless hours, but I know they were never meant to be mine alone. Let this moment be a quiet exchange, where I release my unrest and you place your peace within me. Teach me to recognize your presence not in grand signs or thunderous miracles, but in the tender rhythm of my own breathing, in the steady beat of life that you sustain without fail. Let me sense you in the way morning air touches my face, reminding me that mercy is new with every sunrise. I do not deserve it, yet you give it freely, and that grace humbles me. Help me to live this day with a heart aware of that grace, to see interruptions as invitations, difficulties as shaping hands, and ordinary tasks as hidden altars of worship. As the light grows stronger, awaken my spirit to hope again. Let the warmth of the sun remind me that even after long nights, light always returns. Restore in me the quiet confidence that you are working, even when I cannot perceive it, when my mind rushes ahead or drifts into fear. Draw me back to this stillness, back to the place where I remember that I am yours. Whisper truth to me when doubt rises. Tell me again that nothing is wasted, that every tear is noticed, and that every season holds its purpose. Father, I ask for a mind that listens and a heart that trusts. May your wisdom guide each decision I face today, small or great. Keep me from leaning on my own understanding, for I have seen how easily I stumble when I do. Instead, let me walk at your pace, neither striving nor lagging behind. Show me how to be gentle in speech, patient in waiting, and faithful in love when irritation or pride tempts me. Remind me that I am called to reflect your kindness, not my frustration. Guard my steps, Lord. Protect me from the distractions that steal my focus and the voices that sow discouragement. Let me dwell in the awareness of your nearness. For when I remember that you are close, courage begins to rise again. Strengthen me to face what lies ahead without shrinking back. Whether this day brings joy or challenge, success or setback, let my response be the same, a steady trust in your goodness. Thank you for being my constant refuge, for being the quiet center in a world that spins too fast. Thank you for the simple miracle of being alive this morning, for the breath that carries your spirit, for the chance to start again. Let this dawn mark not just the beginning of another day, but a renewal of my soul. Where there is weariness, bring rest. Where there is doubt, bring faith. Where there is sorrow, let hope bloom quietly once more. I open my heart wide before you, Father, asking that every word, thought, and action today would echo your love. May the peace I find in this prayer spill gently into every moment that follows. Let your presence linger long after these words fade, shaping how I see, how I speak, and how I live. And as this morning unfolds, let its light be a promise that nothing can separate me from the care of the one who formed the dawn. Father, as the quiet from my last breath of prayer still lingers, I sense a tender stirring within me, a soft awakening of gratitude that begins to rise like the faint blush of dawn on the horizon. The air feels gentler now, touched by the warmth of new light, and I know you are here steady, faithful, closer than the wind that brushes against my skin. My soul begins to remember how many times you have carried me when I did not even realize it. Every heartbeat, every inhale of this cool morning air, every chance to begin again is a reminder of mercy that never ran out in the night. Lord, teach me to see with grateful eyes. When I woke, I heard the rustle of leaves outside and realized that the world is alive because you have spoken it into motion once more. The smallest details, a ray of light bending through the curtain, the scent of fresh air, the quiet hum of life returning to the earth. Each one feels like a whisper from you saying, I am here, and this is my gift. I thank you, God, for these simple wonders that so easily go unnoticed, for the grace that surrounds me in ordinary things, for the beauty hidden in the smallest corners of my morning. As I think back on days past, I see your fingerprints scattered across my story. There were moments I mistook for coincidence that were actually your care. There were times I thought I stood alone, yet you were already moving in ways unseen. You placed people in my path who offered kindness when I needed it most, words that steadied me when I was close to giving up, quiet encouragement that became light when my spirit dimmed. I thank you for them, for every act of compassion that reflected your love, even when I did not recognize it as such. Father, let my gratitude not be shallow or brief. Let it grow roots that reach deep into my spirit, so that even when life feels uncertain, thanksgiving still finds its voice. Help me to remember that gratitude is not only for the moments that make me smile, but also for the ones that test me. For even in difficulty, you are shaping me, teaching endurance, patience, and faith. You use the very challenges I would rather escape to build strength I did not know I had. For that, too, I give thanks. I thank you for the memories that bring warmth to my heart, the laughter shared around tables, the comfort of a familiar voice, the quiet victories no one else saw but you did. And I also thank you for the seasons that broke me open, because through them, I learned compassion for others who walk in pain. Gratitude turns my wounds into testimony, my tears into seeds that someday grow into hope for someone else. So I praise you, Lord, for weaving joy and sorrow together into something meaningful, something beautiful even in its imperfection. God, I want this day to begin not with a list of what I lack, but with wonder at all I have already been given. Teach me to notice the abundance you have placed within reach, the chance to breathe deeply, to speak kindly, to choose love over resentment, to create something small that honors you. Let gratitude be the rhythm of my steps and the melody beneath every word I speak. When irritation or impatience threatens to rise, let thankfulness quiet it before it takes root. When comparison whispers that I am not enough, Remind me of how deeply I am already loved. There is power in thanksgiving that I cannot always explain. It changes the way I carry the hours ahead. It softens what once felt hard, lightens what once felt heavy, and draws my focus away from what hurts toward what heals. Gratitude reminds me that you are already working, even when the evidence is small as a flicker of morning light through the trees. It teaches me that miracles are not always loud. Sometimes they arrive gently, disguised as moments of peace that no one else would notice but me and you. Father, may this heart of gratitude stretch beyond my own blessings. Let it overflow toward others who cross my path today. May I speak words that lift, hands that help, eyes that see the good in people before they see the flaws in themselves. Gratitude should not stay hidden inside me. It is meant to move outward, turning compassion into action. Remind me that every expression of thanks to you can become a blessing through me to someone else who has forgotten what hope feels like. I thank you for the sunlight now, resting fully on the world outside. It feels like a quiet promise, a reminder that each morning carries a chance to begin again with a grateful heart. The light touches everything the same, no matter how broken or forgotten. And in that I see a reflection of your love. You do not withhold warmth from the weary or light from the undeserving. You give freely because that is who you are. Let that same generosity live in me today. So I lift my eyes to the unfolding sky and whisper thanks for this day, this breath, this chance to love again. Gratitude steadies me. It becomes my offering to you in return for all that you have poured into my life. As the world around me awakens, so does my soul, and I choose to meet this morning with open hands and a thankful heart, knowing that wherever I go, the giver of all good things walks beside me. Lord, as gratitude settles like sunlight upon my heart, I feel a quieter invitation stirring within me, one that calls me to let go of what I still carry from yesterday. Even as I thank you for your goodness, I realize how much weight lingers behind my smiles. How many hidden worries have followed me into this morning. They are small at first glance, yet they cling to the corners of my mind. Unfinished. Honest conversations. Uncertain plans. Silent disappointments I never voiced. You know them, Father, even before I try to name them, for you see what burdens me long before I admit it to myself. There is a strange heaviness that dawn often reveals. The body wakes while the soul still wrestles with what the night could not resolve. Lord, you have watched me toss beneath the quiet hours, thoughts turning like restless tides. I bring them to you now, the fears I cannot control, the things I tried to fix by my own strength, the anxious loops that keep replaying without end. I do not come to justify them or to make sense of them, only to surrender them. Let this prayer be the place where I finally set them down, one by one, like stones from a weary traveler's pack. Father, teach me to release, not resist. I have learned how to hold tightly to my worries, as if by gripping them I could keep disaster away. Yet every attempt only leaves my heart more tired, my spirit more tense. You never asked me to carry what belongs to you. You invited me to trust, to cast my cares upon you, not to gather them again each dawn. So now I breathe deeply, imagining each worry as a thread loosening in your hands. My concern for those I love, my anxiety about tomorrow's needs, my regret for what cannot be undone. Let them all rest in your keeping, where they are safer than they ever were in mine. God, you know how easily my mind returns to old fears. Even when I lay them down, I find myself picking them back up again, but your patience does not waver. You meet me in my returning, reminding me that surrender is not a single act, but a rhythm, a gentle, daily releasing of what I was never meant to hold. So I practice again. Right now, this holy art of letting go. I picture my hands opening in the morning light, empty yet expectant. You fill emptiness not with despair, but with peace. You replace the H of control with the stillness of trust. Help me remember that freedom is found not in fixing everything, but in resting in your care. I do not need to understand every reason or outcome. I only need to know that you are faithful, and you are, Lord, unfailingly so. I have seen it in the quiet ways, have steadied me before, even when I thought I was falling apart. You were already beneath me, catching what I could not hold. That memory becomes my anchor today. When uncertainty tries to rise again, remind me that I have already been rescued more times than I can count. Father, I bring before you the hidden pains I rarely name, aloud the quiet grief of dreams deferred, the loneliness that sometimes lingers, even in the company of others, the regret over words I cannot retrieve. These, too, are burdens that bend the heart. I do not ask you to erase them, only to meet me in them, to turn even my sorrow into a doorway where grace can enter. Let every tear shed in silence be gathered by you. Let every H remind me that my heart still beats with the capacity to love, and that love, though costly, is never wasted. There are also burdens I carry for others. Lord, those I cannot fix but cannot ignore. The illness of someone dear, the struggle of a friend who hides their pain behind laughter, the silent cry of the world itself. I offer them to you now, for you alone can bear the weight of so many hearts, where I can be an instrument of comfort. Guide me, where I can do nothing but pray. Remind me that prayer itself moves mountains unseen. Let intercession replace anxiety, compassion replace helplessness, and trust replace despair. God, I confess how easily I confuse control with care. I cling to problems believing that worry proves my love. Yet you remind me that love often looks like release. Help me to love others without taking their burdens as my own. Teach me to lift them to you instead, confident that you hold them closer than I ever could. Let me find peace not in the absence of concern, but in the assurance of your sovereignty over all things. The morning has grown brighter now, and with the light comes perspective. The shadows that seemed so heavy in the dark look different under your sun. I realize that most of what I feared was never as powerful as it appeared. You have been faithful through every unseen hour. Guarding even while I slept, I breathe this truth in deeply. The world does not rest on my shoulders, it rests on yours. That knowledge is freedom. It is enough. Father, may this day begin with unclenched hands and an unburdened heart. Whenever worry tries to return, let me remember this hour how peace came not from solving but from surrendering. Let me walk through the hours ahead with a quiet spirit, able to notice joy because fear no longer blinds me. And when I meet others who carry their own invisible loads, help me speak kindness that eases, not words that weigh them down. Let my calm become a small reflection of the peace I have found in you. So I rise from this moment lighter than before, not because the path ahead is clear, but because I am no longer walking alone beneath its weight. The morning breeze feels like a promise, whispering through the open window that all is held, all is known, all is seen by you. And that is enough for now, Lord. It is enough to begin this day in freedom. Father, as the peace from surrender settles within me, I feel your quiet presence inviting me even deeper. Gratitude has opened my eyes. Release has lifted the weight from my shoulders. Yet now you call me to look honestly at the places still unhealed, the corners of my heart that remain untouched by light. The morning has grown brighter outside, but within me there are shadows that need your grace. I do not come in fear or shame, for I know your mercy is gentler than I can imagine. I come because I long to be clean again, to walk through this day unburdened not only from worries, but from the faults that have dulled my soul. Lord, I confess that I have often moved through life half aware of my own hardness. I have spoken carelessly, carried resentment, and held on to judgments that poisoned quiet moments. There are words I cannot take back, silences where I should have spoken, and choices that bruised hearts I love. I do not excuse them. I bring them here, into the light of morning, where nothing is hidden from you. You already know, yet you still love. That truth humbles me until my pride dissolves. I do not wish to pretend before you. I wish to be transformed. Search me, God, not to expose me, but to free me. If there is any bitterness I have fed, any secret jealousy I have hidden behind a smile, show it gently, so I can let it go. If I have clung to anger because it felt like control, remind me that forgiveness is the only true power. If I have ignored the suffering of others because it was easier not to care, soften this heart of stone until it beats in rhythm with yours again. Wash away the subtle sins that creep into my habits, the impatience, the complaining spirit, the quickness to assume the worst. These things weigh more than I realize. Father, let your mercy be like water pouring over my spirit, clear and cool, washing away the residue of old failures. Let it reach even the deep places I cannot clean on my own. As you forgive me, help me forgive myself. I have been my own harshest judge, replaying mistakes as if punishment could rewrite the past. But you do not dwell on what is gone. You are always creating newness. Teach me to accept your pardon fully, to live as someone already redeemed, not as someone endlessly trying to earn what has already been given. I think of the way rain falls upon dust and brings forth the scent of renewal. Let that be true in me, Lord. Let the places that were dry and lifeless bloom again beneath the rain of your compassion. Replace guilt with tenderness, regret with resolve, shame with humility and peace. And let this cleansing not end with me. When I walk into the world today, let others glimpse your mercy through my gentler tone, my softer eyes, my willingness to listen more than I defend. Let forgiveness flow outward until it becomes the quiet fragrance of my life. God, I ask for courage to make right what can be mended. If I owe someone an apology, nudge me until I speak it. If I have wounded by neglect, remind me that silence can also harm. Restore honesty where I have hidden behind pretense. Restore kindness where I have withdrawn in fear. It is not enough to confess only in prayer. True repentance bears fruit in action. Let me walk differently because of this morning's cleansing lighter, freer, truer to who you created me to be. Father, I thank you that your forgiveness is not fragile. It does not depend on my worthiness or on my ability to remember every fault. It depends on your heart, which is steadfast and unchanging. You are not weary of forgiving. You delight in restoration. You meet me not with condemnation, but with open arms. Help me to believe that. Help me to carry that truth into every encounter today, so that when I see someone stumble, I do not judge them from the place I once fell, but offer the same mercy I received. There is a lightness that comes when the soul is clean, a quiet strength that rises where guilt once lived. I feel it now, subtle, but real, like sunlight after a long rain. I know I will need to return to this place again and again, for confession is not a single cleansing, but a continual flow of grace. Still, this morning, I am thankful for the gift of being renewed, of starting again not in perfection, but in purity of intention. Lord, may this new beginning shape the rest of my day. When temptation whispers that I have not changed, remind me of this moment and of your promise that all things can be made new. When I fail again, remind me that you do not grow distant. You draw nearer. Keep my heart tender, aware of its own weakness, yet confident in your strength. Let the memory of this cleansing protect me from the pride that forgets, and from the despair that refuses to hope. The morning now feels brighter, the air clearer, as if creation itself rejoices in your mercy. I lift my face toward the light and breathe deeply of your forgiveness. I am not who I was when I awoke. I am not bound by what was broken. I am yours, washed, restored, and ready to walk forward into this day with a spirit made new beneath your unchanging love. Father, as the calm of forgiveness settles over me, I sense a new readiness rising from within, a quiet determination to meet this day, not with fear or fatigue, but with the strength you provide. The air feels clearer, my heart lighter, yet I know that beyond these walls, the world waits with its challenges, temptations, and unexpected turns. I do not wish to step into it unguarded. Just as I would not leave my home without clothing my body, I cannot walk into the hours ahead without clothing my soul in your presence and protection. Lord, wrap me first in truth. Let it be the garment that fits closest to my heart. Remind me who I am and whose I am, so that lies cannot cling to me. The world will whisper that my worth depends on success, approval, or appearance. But you call me beloved simply because you chose me. Let that truth fasten around me like a belt, holding everything else in place when uncertainty tries to pull me apart. Teach me to walk in honesty with myself, with others, and with you, so that no falsehood finds a home in me. Next, cover me with righteousness, not the kind I can earn, but the kind you place upon me out of love. May it be like a coat that shields me from the chill of temptation, when pride or anger reaches for my attention. Remind me of the gentleness of your Son, who carried power with humility when impatience stirs or irritation flares. Help me to pause and choose what is right over what feels easy. Let integrity become the quiet strength beneath my words and actions, unseen but steady. Lord, prepare my feet with readiness to walk in peace. I know that every step today will lead me into encounters where peace can either be built or broken. Help me to move lightly, not rushing ahead or dragging behind, but walking in rhythm with your Spirit. Let my tone be calm where tension rises. My presence bring stillness where anxiety grows. May I not avoid difficult conversations, but approach them with compassion. Wherever conflict lives, make me a peacemaker, not through silence or avoidance, but through the courage to love when it costs something. Father, place over me the shield of faith. I will need it, for doubts can appear as sudden as arrows. There will be moments when fear disguises itself as logic, when discouragement sounds convincing, when worry presses hard against my heart. In those moments, lift my arm, remind me of your promises, and let faith intercept every lie before it wounds me. Let trust become not just my defense, but my language, the steady answer to every what if. Faith does not erase uncertainty. It redefines it as an invitation to lean on you again. And crown me with salvation, Lord, not as a decoration, but as a reminder. Let the assurance of your rescue guard my thoughts. Keep my mind from spiraling into self-condemnation or shame. When guilt from yesterday tries to return, let the memory of your grace silence its voice. Let the knowledge that I am saved not make me proud, but grateful, aware that my story has been rewritten by mercy. Protect my imagination from fear, my memory from regret, and my anticipation from despair. Let my thoughts be a dwelling place for peace, not a battlefield for worry. Finally, place in my hands the sword of your Spirit, which is your word. Let it not be a weapon of arrogance or argument, but of truth and clarity. When confusion surrounds me, let Scripture become the voice that cuts through the noise. Bring to mind verses I have forgotten, truths I once knew but allowed to fade. Let your words shape my responses and calm my impulses. When I am tempted to speak from emotion, remind me to listen first to you, to others, to the quiet wisdom that lives in stillness. God, I do not ask for a day free of difficulty, but for the grace to meet whatever comes with dignity and peace. Let this armor not make me hard or defensive, but grounded and compassionate. Strength is not in the noise of resistance, but in the steadiness of surrender. Teach me that to stand firm in faith does not mean to fight every battle. It often means to rest in the assurance that you have already won the greater one. As I prepare to move through this day, I feel the weight of your protection, not heavy, but secure, like sunlight resting across my shoulders. You have clothed me not for comfort, but for purpose. Every piece reminds me that I am not powerless, that divine strength moves quietly within me. Let this awareness change how I see others today, not as threats or obstacles, but as souls you also long to protect. Father, help me carry myself with grace. Let my steps be steady, my words gentle, my thoughts pure. When the world grows loud, remind me that I am dressed in your peace. When the day grows long, remind me that I am covered by your love. When I forget, Draw me back to this moment, to this prayer where I first put on your strength like morning clothes. And if I stumble, if I falter under the weight of the hours ahead, help me remember that I am not alone. Your hand will lift me again, brush the dust from my knees, and whisper that I am still yours. That truth, more than anything I wear, will be my protection. So I rise now. Father, clothed not in fear or striving, but in the quiet confidence that you go before me. Surround me and dwell within me. The morning light has fully arrived, washing every surface with gold. I step into it, not as someone unprepared, but as one wrapped in the unseen garments of grace, truth around my heart, righteousness upon my soul, faith like a shield, and peace beneath my feet. Every thread is a reminder that I am covered your love and equipped to face the day with courage and calm. Lord, as I rise clothed in your strength, I feel the day stretching before me like an unwritten page. The light outside has fully awakened, and so has the hum of life-distant footsteps. The sound of doors opening, voices beginning their rhythm of work and duty. Yet in this still moment before I step into it all, I long to hear what you would have me do. My hands may be ready, but my heart seeks direction. I do not want to walk through this day driven by habit or hurry. I want to move by your guidance, steady and deliberate, aware that each step can become sacred when it follows your will. Father, help me to listen, not with the anxious need to predict every outcome, but with quiet trust that you will lead me as the day unfolds. Your guidance does not shout. It whispers through the ordinary, a pause in my thoughts, a stirring of compassion, a moment of clarity that feels like light breaking through fog. These are the ways you speak. Train my spirit to recognize them. Keep me sensitive to the gentle nudge that says, "Go here," or "Wait." Let obedience be my first reflex, not my last resort. Sometimes I come to you asking for clear signs, but you give me something subtler, peace in one direction, restlessness in another. Help me to pay attention to that peace, to treat it as your compass. When confusion tries to draw me into circles, remind me that you are not a God of chaos, but of quiet order. You do not hide your will like a riddle. You reveal it through relationship. So let my first task today be not to plan, but to abide. From that place of stillness, clarity will come like sunlight through an open window. God, I lay before you the map of this day, the appointments, the errands, the people I expect to meet, but I also leave blank spaces for what you might add or change. If you close a door I thought I needed, help me not to force it open. If you open a door I did not plan for, give me the courage to walk through without hesitation. Teach me that interruptions are not inconveniences, but invitations to trust. Your plans are rarely comfortable, yet they are always kind. There are moments when I rush ahead, thinking I already know what you want, but I have learned that impatience often leads me away from grace. Slow me down, Lord. Let me be attentive rather than ambitious. The world celebrates the loud and the quick, but you move in quiet rhythm. Let me match that rhythm today, alert, but not anxious, ready, but not restless. I would rather walk one step behind you than a mile ahead of myself. Father, Give me discernment in my choices, when I must decide between words to speak or silence to hold, between action and restraint, between yes and no. Help me to sense which path bears the fragrance of peace. I do not need every detail, only enough light for the next step. Teach me that obedience in small things often prepares the way for great ones. Help me notice the divine assignments, disguised as simple moments. A person who needs encouragement, a task that requires patience, a responsibility that calls for integrity when no one else is watching. These are not interruptions. They are holy ground. Sometimes, Lord, your guidance feels like waiting, and that can be hard. Waiting feels unproductive, yet it is often the place where faith grows most deeply. Remind me that stillness is not stagnation. It is preparation. When you seem silent, it is not neglect but timing. While I wait, shape my heart so that when the answer comes, I will recognize it not by surprise, but by familiarity. You have been forming it in me all along. God, let me carry a listening posture through the whole day. Even as I move through noise and tasks, let my inner ear remain tuned to your voice. If irritation or distraction tries to drown it out, bring me back with a single breath, a reminder that you are near. Let the pulse of gratitude, learned in earlier prayers, steady me again so that every decision flows from peace, not pressure. Show me, too, how to hear you through others. Wisdom often arrives in unexpected voices. A child's question, a friend's concern, a stranger's kindness. Keep me humble enough to recognize your message, no matter who speaks it. And when you ask me to be the one who speaks, give me words that heal, not harm. Words that carry truth without pride and encouragement without flattery. Let my tongue move only when love guides it. Father, I also ask for protection from false guidance, my own impulses, my fears, the noise of expectations that disguise themselves as duty. Silence the demands that say, I must prove my worth through business. Your calling is not always about doing more. Often it is about doing what matters with presence and peace. Let me measure success not by results, but by faithfulness. If at the end of this day I have listened well and obeyed quietly, that will be enough. The morning has grown brighter, and the sounds of the world now fill the air. I can almost feel the day waiting outside, like a door about to open. Before I step through, I pause once more to anchor my heart. You have dressed me in truth and peace. Now teach me to move with purpose. Let each step be guided not by reaction, but by relationship. Every moment I yield to your will becomes a prayer in motion. So, Lord, as this day unfolds, let me walk as one who listens. Whether the path is smooth or uncertain, let my spirit remain attuned to your direction. I will not demand a map when I have the voice of the guide. You are my north, my steady compass, and as long as I follow you, I cannot be lost. Father, as I carry the peace of obedience from the stillness before, I step into the flow of this day aware that much around me remains unresolved. I feel it quietly beneath the calm, the tug of things, yet incomplete, the H of hopes still waiting to unfold. Some prayers have not been answered, some efforts have not borne fruit, and some dreams stand half-built, like walls without a roof. Yet, even in this in-between, I sense you asking me to trust, to walk forward not because everything is finished, but because you are not finished with me. Lord, help me to find courage here, in the middle ground between what was promised and what has yet to be. Teach me that faith is not proven in the outcome, but in the waiting, when I cannot see the full picture. Remind me that you are still painting, still shaping, still weaving light into corners that I cannot reach. Let patience take root where frustration once grew. Let perseverance replace the urge to give up. You are the author, and though I cannot read every page, I can trust the hand that writes. There are mornings when discouragement whispers that I am behind, that others move faster, succeed sooner, believe stronger. In those moments, silence the noise of comparison, for it blinds me to the sacred pace you set for my life. I am not meant to race through my story. I am meant to walk it with you. When I fall into doubt because progress feels slow, remind me of the seeds hidden beneath the soil, unseen yet alive, quietly preparing for their appointed time. Growth does not always announce itself. Sometimes it hides in the ordinary fullness of showing up again and again. God, when the waiting stretches too long, and I begin to wonder if I have misunderstood your will, anchor me in remembrance. Bring to mind the times you came through before the prayers that seemed unanswered until their answers arrived, disguised as mercy. You have never wasted a delay. You have never been late. Your timing, though mysterious, has always been kind. Let that memory steady my trembling heart. Help me trust that you are already at work in the silence, arranging what will one day make sense. Father, I bring to you the places where I have tried to force resolution, where impatience made me act before grace had finished its work. I confess how easily I mistake movement for progress, how I rush to fix what only time and your wisdom can heal. Forgive me for trying to complete what you have only begun. Teach me to rest in the unfinished, to see beauty in process, to hold the tension of not yet without despair. You are never hurried, yet you are never idle. Let that calm settle into my spirit until I can wait as you wait with purpose, with love, with unshakable peace. Lord, give me courage not only to wait, but to hope. Hope is brave because it looks beyond the present moment, refusing to be defined by what is missing. Let hope be my anchor when discouragement whispers that it is too late. Remind me that you specialize in impossibilities, that resurrection stories always begin in the dark. When I am tempted to quit believing, breathe faith into my lungs again. Remind me that my story, like every sunrise, is proof that endings are never the end in your hands. There are people, too, whose stories I watch unfold with concern, whose paths seem lost or uncertain. Teach me not to try to write their chapters for them. Help me instead to intercede, to trust that you are as present in their journey as you are in mine. Where I cannot see progress, let me pray for peace. Where I cannot change outcomes, let me speak blessing. You are the same faithful God writing through every life, and no narrative is too tangled for your pen. God, remind me that courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means choosing trust despite it. It means standing steady when the ground beneath me shifts, When I face setbacks or silence, let courage whisper, "He is still good." Let it rise each time doubt tries to drown me. May this courage not come from my own strength, but from the deep knowing that you have already overcome. What is uncertain to me is certain to you, and that truth is enough to quiet my restless heart. Father, when my plans crumble or take unexpected turns, help me release disappointment before it hardens into bitterness. Let me see detours as redirections, not rejections. Perhaps what feels delayed is really your mercy in disguise, sparing me from paths not meant for me. Help me to believe that even this unfinished place has meaning, that the waiting itself is shaping me into someone stronger, wiser, more tender, and more ready for what lies ahead. And when the night comes again, and I feel tempted to measure the worth of my day by what I accomplished or what still remains undone, remind me that faithfulness was the goal all along. If I have listened, if I have loved, if I have trusted you through uncertainty, then I have not failed. The unfinished will wait for tomorrow. But your love endures tonight. So I stand here, Lord, between beginnings and endings, between what I understand and what I cannot yet see. I lift my hands not in frustration, but in surrender, and whisper that I will keep walking. Even if the road is dim, the light will come when it is time. Until then, let my courage be quiet but firm, rooted in the certainty that you never abandon what you begin. You are still writing, and every line, even the unfinished ones, belongs to grace. Father, as I rest in the courage to trust you with what is unfinished, I begin to notice another landscape, the one that lives inside me. The world outside may change with seasons, but within me, the weather shifts even more quickly. Some mornings feel calm and bright. Others carry quiet storms that no one else can see. My emotions rise and fall like tides, sometimes gentle, sometimes fierce, and I find myself wondering why peace can be so fleeting. Yet I know that you, Lord, are the keeper of every sky, both in heaven and in the human heart. So here I am, asking you to bring balance to the inner weather of my soul. God, there are moments when sadness moves, and like a cloud, without warning, I wake with heaviness that has no name, as if my heart has forgotten how to stretch toward light. I try to pray it away, but perhaps what I need is not to fight it, but to let you meet me within it. Teach me that feelings are not enemies, only messengers. Help me listen to what they reveal before I hand them over to you. Let me find comfort in knowing that you, too, wept, that you understand sorrow not from a distance, but from the inside. When grief or loneliness comes, let your compassion be the shelter I run to, not escape or distraction. Lord, sometimes it is not sadness that storms within me, but anger subtle, smoldering, often hiding behind frustration or fatigue. It rises when things feel unfair, when people wound without apology, when the world's brokenness feels too heavy to bear. You see this anger even when I try to disguise it with calm. You are not afraid of it, and you do not shame me for it. You only ask that I hand it to you before it burns me from within. Teach me to transform anger into intercession, to let it become fuel for compassion rather than destruction. Replace the fire that consumes with the fire that refines, that burns away bitterness and leaves only zeal for what is right. Father, I also bring before you the anxiety that sometimes hums beneath everything, that quiet unease that sneaks into joy and whispers that it will not last. It wears many names: fear, control, worry, but its voice is always the same. What if I fail? What if I lose what I love? What if tomorrow does not unfold as I hope? I have chased these thoughts in circles and found no peace at their end. So now, I place them in your hands. Let your stillness quiet the noise inside me. Teach me to live not in constant anticipation of loss, but in grateful awareness of presence. When my mind spins ahead into the unknown, draw me back to this breath, this moment, this proof of your faithfulness now. Lord, you know that my emotions are often tangled: fear mixed with hope, joy shadowed by grief, confidence followed by doubt. Yet you never ask me to untangle them alone. You promised to be near the brokenhearted, to bind up the wounds that human strength cannot reach. Touch the parts of me that logic cannot heal, the places where disappointment has settled like dust, where old wounds still ache beneath the surface. Let your spirit sweep through those hidden rooms, not in violence, but in tenderness, clearing the air, bringing light where the windows have long been closed. God, help me also to notice the beauty within my emotions, for they remind me that I am alive, capable of love and wonder. Joy, when it arrives, is a miracle I never want to take for granted. Let me savor it without fear of its ending. Let laughter rise easily, like sunlight reflecting on water. And when peace comes quietly, let me honor it by slowing down enough to feel it. Remind me that joy and sorrow are not opposites, but companions in this life, each teaching me something about the depth of your grace. Father, I ask for wisdom to respond to my emotions rather than react to them. When anger comes, let me pause before I speak. When sadness lingers, let me rest before I judge myself for feeling weak. When joy bursts open, let me share it freely without suspicion. And when fear arrives, let me remember that it cannot stay long in the presence of perfect love. I do not want to be ruled by feelings, but I also do not want to numb them. I want to bring them to you as offerings, trusting that you can transform even the stormiest heart into a place of peace. Lord, there are moments when the emotions of others spill into me the pain of a friend, the heaviness of the world, the invisible sorrow in someone's eyes. Sometimes I carry these weights without realizing it. Teach me how to care deeply without collapsing under compassion's weight. Show me how to pray for others without absorbing their storms. Let me be an open window, not a sponge, someone through whom your peace can flow freely, bringing comfort without depletion. Father, when I look back on the days I have lived, I see how you have already been healing the weather within me. Where once storms raged constantly, now there are longer stretches of calm. Where fear used to shout, now it whispers, and even then, it finds you waiting to answer. Your faithfulness is the steady horizon my emotions revolve around. The clouds shift, but the sky remains. My heart may tremble, but your presence is constant. So today, as I step forward, let my inner weather reflect your peace. When pressure builds, remind me to breathe in your grace. When the winds of worry rise, let faith become the anchor that holds me steady. Let the atmosphere of my spirit influence the world around me, calming what is chaotic, softening what is hard, brightening what is dimmed. Let those who meet me sense not perfection but serenity, not control but quiet trust. And when evening comes and I look back on this day, let me see that no matter what emotions visited me, joy, sorrow, fear, or gratitude, each one became a path back to you. For you are not only the God of heaven's skies, but also the God of my inner weather, the one who brings sunlight from within, who turns storms into songs, and who teaches my heart to rest, no matter the forecast. Father, as the quiet within me grows steadier and the storms begin to fade, my heart widens toward those you have placed in my life. Peace, when it is real, cannot remain self-contained, it longs to overflow. And so, with this calm you have restored inside me, I lift my eyes to the ones I love, to the faces that make up the story of my home. Their names rise easily to my lips, for they live in my prayers even when words fail. Today, I bring them before you, one by one, asking that your presence surround them as surely as morning light surrounds the earth. Lord, you know every person connected to my life, their strengths, their struggles, the hidden hopes they rarely share. You see the longings in their hearts more clearly than I ever could. I cannot fix what burdens them. I can only entrust them to you. So I do. I surrender each of them into your keeping. Let my family be covered by your grace, like dew resting on new grass, quiet, constant, and renewing. Bless them in the details of their day, in every place their feet will walk, in every thought that crosses their mind. Let your hand guide, protect, and provide in ways that no human effort could accomplish. God, I think first of the ones under this same roof, those whose laughter and tears mingle with mine. Let love rule our home, not pride or fear. Help us to speak gently even when tension rises, to listen when silence feels easier, and to forgive before resentment takes root. Teach us that unity is not the absence of difference, but the decision to cherish one another anyway. Let kindness dwell in our tone, humility in our choices, and warmth in the way we return to one another after mistakes. May this home be more than shelter. May it be a sanctuary where hearts are safe to be honest, and where grace is the air we breathe. Father, I pray for the children, the ones growing beneath the weight of a fast world, learning who they are and what they believe. Guard their minds from confusion and comparison. Surround them with truth that steadies and friends who uplift. When they doubt their worth, remind them that they were fearfully and wonderfully made by the one who knows them best. Let curiosity grow stronger than fear, courage deeper than insecurity. And for those still young in spirit, but wary in experience, restore wonder where disappointment has dimmed their joy. Teach me, as a parent or guardian, to love them with patience that mirrors yours, to correct with compassion, to guide without control, to model faith that is alive, not just spoken. Lord, I remember those in my family who walk through sorrow right now, those grieving losses too deep for easy comfort, those battling illness, or carrying responsibilities that drain them quietly. Be the strength they cannot summon, the friend who never leaves, the rest they cannot find in sleep. Let healing flow where bodies ache. Let hope kindle where discouragement has settled like dust. Send unexpected kindness into their path today, a word, a memory, a gentle reminder that they are not forgotten. And if you wish, use me as part of that kindness. God, I also pray for the elders among us, the ones whose stories shaped the foundation we now stand on. Bless their days with peace and dignity. Let them know they are still needed, still valued, still seen. Give them the comfort of your nearness in the quiet hours and the joy of laughter that renews their spirit. Teach me to honor them not with duty, but with gratitude, to sit and listen to their wisdom, to remember that legacy is not measured in possessions, but in faith passed from one generation to the next. Father, extend your care to those who have drifted far, whether in distance, belief, or circumstance. I think of family members estranged, of friendships once close now silent, of those who have wandered into loneliness. Reach them where I cannot. Your love has no borders, no locked doors. Let reconciliation begin in small ways, an unexpected thought, a softened heart, a willingness to reach out. Where forgiveness feels impossible, make it inevitable. You are the master of restoring what time and pride have broken. Lord, bless also those I call family, not by blood, but by bond friends who have walked with me through the years, who have seen both my laughter and my weakness and stayed. Strengthen their homes, their dreams, their faith. Let their mornings begin with peace and their evenings end with gratitude. If any of them feel unseen, remind them now that they are known by name before you. Knit our friendships together with purpose, that together we might reflect your love to a weary world. God, make my intercession more than words. Let my actions echo my prayers. If my loved ones need encouragement, make me quick to give it. If they need patience, teach me to extend it. If they need space to heal, grant me wisdom to step back without withdrawing love. Prayer is not an excuse for passivity. It is the power to love well. Let me be a vessel of peace in the very relationships I am praying for. Father, I ask that our household, our network of souls bound together, be marked by your presence. Let laughter ring freely, but let reverence dwell here too. Let honesty shape our conversations. Forgiveness mend our divides, and faith become the heartbeat that keeps us alive through every season. When storms come, remind us that we do not stand alone. We are held by the same hand that holds the world together. And when the day ends, Lord, let our home exhale peace. Let every wall and window carry traces of your love. Let our dreams be protected, our worries silenced, and our hearts reminded that family is not an accident, it is a gift, entrusted to our care for a brief and holy time. May we honor that gift by loving well, forgiving often, and creating a space where your spirit feels welcome to dwell. So this morning, as sunlight touches every corner of the house, I lift all who belong to me by name, by heart, by memory into the warmth of your grace. Guard them, guide them, and grow them. Father, and let this love I feel for them remind me again of yours, the perfect love that never falters, never fades, and never forgets. Lord, as my thoughts linger on the ones I love, my heart naturally turns toward those who have no one to speak their name in prayer. The warmth of family and friendship is a blessing. Yet I know there are countless souls who wake to the same morning light without comfort, without a hand to hold, without hope. The peace within me feels incomplete until it reaches outward toward them. So, Father, I bring before you all who walk this day under heavy burdens, the unseen, the forgotten, the ones who live on the edges of the world's concern. God, I think first of those who hunger, not only for bread, but for dignity. There are people this very moment searching for food, not knowing where their next meal will come from. You see the mothers who give up their portion so their children can eat, the fathers whose pride aches as they stand in lines for help, the children whose stomachs rumble while they pretend not to notice. Let your mercy be their portion today. Open doors of provision in ways they cannot explain, but will recognize as grace. Stir the hearts of those who have plenty to share freely, without judgment or delay. Teach us that generosity is not optional but essential, that in giving, we become most like you. Father, I remember those living without shelter, whose nights are spent under bridges, in cars, or in the uncertain corners of crowded cities. The cold is cruel, and the loneliness even colder. Wrap them in your invisible warmth. Lord, let them feel seen in a world that passes by too quickly. Send kindness disguised as strangers, a smile, a meal, a conversation that reminds them they still belong to humanity. Move in the hearts of leaders and communities to see not statistics, but stories. Not inconvenience, but image bearers of your love. Protect the vulnerable from violence, exploitation, and despair. And if I encounter one today, let compassion move me faster than caution. God, I lift up those who suffer silently in hospitals, in nursing homes, and in darkened rooms where pain has become their constant companion. You know the cries that never reach human ears, the prayers whispered into pillows, the moments when exhaustion drowns hope. Be near them in their affliction. Let healing flow where it can, and peace where it cannot. Strengthen the hands of caregivers, nurses, and doctors who labor beyond fatigue, often unseen but deeply needed. Let every act of care become an echo of your tenderness. And for those nearing the end of life, hold them with gentleness, reminding them that they are crossing not into darkness, but into your everlasting light. Father, there are others who carry invisible wounds, the victims of abuse, oppression, and injustice. Their pain hides behind polite smiles, behind silence, behind the fear that no one will believe them. But you believe. You have always been the God who sees, who hears the cries that others dismiss. Be their defender and healer. Break chains of fear and restore their voice. Let truth rise where lies have ruled. Bring justice that is not vengeful but restorative, so that brokenness becomes a doorway to redemption. Not bitterness, and give me eyes that recognize suffering even when it is masked, so I may offer compassion instead of judgment. Lord, I pray for those displaced by war and disaster, families who flee homes turned to ashes, children who carry memories no child should bear. The world is full of movement and mourning, a people seeking safety that always seems a little farther away. Shelter them beneath your mercy, guide their steps across borders and waters. Raise up people of peace who open doors instead of closing them. Soften hearts that fear difference, and teach nations that hospitality is not weakness, but divine strength. You yourself were a refugee once, carried in Mary's arms through the night. You understand their fear. Let that truth awaken compassion in all who follow you. Father, I bring before you those imprisoned both by walls and by choices. Some sit behind bars, regretting what they have done or resentful of what was done to them. Others walk freely yet remain captive to addiction, shame, or despair. You came to proclaim liberty to the captives. Let that promise breathe again today. Send hope through chaplains, counselors, and friends who carry your light into the darkest places. Let even prison cells become sanctuaries of transformation for those trapped by guilt or habit. Break the cycles that chain their souls. Replace condemnation with the courage to begin anew. God, I cannot forget those who serve quietly in places of danger, the humanitarian workers, rescue teams, teachers, and volunteers who stand in the gap where suffering is greatest. Protect their bodies and renew their spirits. When fatigue and discouragement creep in, remind them that every small act of love ripples farther than they can see. Let them know their labor is not in vain, for you measure faithfulness differently than the world does. Lord, help me to see that intercession is not a distant sympathy, but a call to action. Let these prayers awaken me to responsibility. When I see need, do not let me look away. When I hold resources, teach me generosity. When I encounter injustice, grant me wisdom to speak and courage to act. Cannot heal every wound, but I can carry one small piece of your compassion into the spaces I touch. Make me sensitive to divine appointments, those moments when a simple gesture, a kind word, or a quiet listening heart can become a vessel of hope. Father, as I think of the vulnerable, I realize how vulnerable we all truly are. No one stands beyond the need of grace. We are each fragile in our own way, some in body, others in spirit. So teach me to walk humbly, to serve without condescension, to love without condition. Let me never forget that I, too, have been rescued many times by mercy I did not deserve. Let gratitude keep my heart soft and my hands open. And now, Lord, as the day continues to unfold, let these prayers rise like incense, not as fleeting pity, but as steady compassion. Cover the hurting with your protection, the hungry with your provision, the forgotten with your remembrance. Let the vulnerable find in you what the world cannot give: dignity, safety, and peace. And let those of us who call you Father become the reflection of that care, walking through the world as bearers of light in every shadowed place. Father, as my prayers widen from the intimate circle of home to the distant cries of the world, I feel you drawing me toward the space where the sacred meets the ordinary, the work of my hands, the labor of each day. You remind me that my vocation, whether simple or grand, is not separate from prayer. It is the extension of it. What I do today, the tasks I undertake, the words I speak, even the thoughts I hold while doing them, these, too, can become offerings of worship if they are done with love. And so, Lord, I invite you into my work this morning. Whatever form it takes, let it become not just something I do, but something you do through me. God, give meaning to the routine that so often feels small. There are days when repetition dulls my spirit, days when I wonder if my efforts matter, if anyone notices, if progress ever truly comes. But you see it all. You are present in every unnoticed act of faithfulness, every quiet decision to do what is right even when no one thanks me. You turn the mundane into holy ground when I work with integrity and gratitude. Remind me that purpose is not found in applause, but in alignment with you, with love, with truth. Let my labor be steady, sincere, and mindful of the hands it will touch beyond my sight. Lord, teach me to begin every task with intention. Let diligence replace distraction, excellence replace apathy. Help me resist the temptation to rush through responsibilities as though they are obstacles to more important things. Each task has value because it is an opportunity to reflect your character, your patience in precision, your joy in creation, your faithfulness in completion. When frustration rises because outcomes seem delayed or imperfect, quiet my heart with the knowledge that you measure success differently. You look not at the result, at the spirit behind the effort. Father, I bring before you the people I work alongside, the colleagues, clients, leaders, and those I serve. Each one carries unseen burdens, dreams, and fears. Let kindness be my default posture toward them. When tensions surface, let grace disarm defensiveness. When competition tempts me to compare, remind me that I am called to collaboration, not rivalry. Let encouragement replace envy, and teamwork replace pride. May I see others not as obstacles to my success, but as partners in something larger than ourselves, something sacred that reflects the diversity of your creation. God, I ask for discernment in decisions. The world often pulls in conflicting directions: efficiency over ethics, ambition over rest, performance over peace. Help me to choose what honors you rather than what merely advances me. Let wisdom govern my priorities. Show me how to balance diligence with surrender, excellence with humility, productivity with presence. I do not want to work merely to achieve. I want to work to serve, to contribute to goodness that outlasts me. Lord, bless those whose labor goes unseen, those who sweep streets before dawn, who clean, who carry, who build, who heal, who teach, who mother, who serve quietly behind closed doors. You see their hands, calloused but generous, their hearts, wary but faithful. Remind them that every act of care echoes through eternity. And for those who long to work but cannot, those between jobs, those burdened by illness or limitation, let them know that their worth has never been tied to their output. You love them not for what they do, but for who they are. Father, I bring you the burden of weariness that sometimes settles deep within me. Even when I am surrounded by activity, work can bless, but it can also drain. You know how easy it is to pour out faster than I refill, to say yes to too much and lose the quiet center of peace. Teach me the rhythm of holy balance, labor and rest, giving and receiving, action and stillness. Let me learn to stop before exhaustion becomes resentment. Show me that Sabbath is not laziness but trust, the trust that the world continues in your hands even when mine are still. God, guard me from the subtle pride of self-reliance. There is a temptation to believe that I alone hold the outcome, that I must strive endlessly to keep everything from falling apart. But I am not the sustainer of all things you are. Let my work be fueled by dependence, not desperation. Replace striving with surrender, performance with peace. When anxiety whispers that I am not doing enough, remind me that you never asked for perfection, only presence. The true measure of my labor is not in hours or accolades, but in love poured quietly into each moment. Lord, let creativity flow through me today, not for recognition, but as a reflection of your image in me. You are the original creator, shaping beauty out of nothing, order out of chaos. Let me mirror that divine spark in whatever I build, write, design, teach, or tend. Let my imagination serve purpose, not ego. And when inspiration feels distant, remind me that even diligence without glamour is sacred. Faithfulness in the unseen moments often yields the truest art. Father, help me to end this day with gratitude, not regret, whether the work feels complete or undone, whether results shine or fade. Let my heart rest knowing I gave what I could and trusted you with what I could not. Let my labor leave a fragrance of integrity in its wake. Let every conversation, every decision, every small act of service become part of a larger harmony you are composing. And as the day moves forward, keep me aware that the purpose of my work is not just to build something outside of me, but something within me. Every effort teaches patience. Every challenge strengthens character. Every success humbles if I let it. You are forming me even as I work. So let me labor with open hands and a peaceful heart, steadfast in purpose, anchored in grace, content to know that when I give my best with love, it becomes enough in your eyes. Father, as I carry the sense of purpose you placed in my work, I feel you leading my heart toward something deeper, the posture which I meet the world itself. It is not enough to build, to labor, to serve. I must also learn how to love in a world that often forgets how. There is so much noise, anger, division, and fatigue in the air around us that it can become easier to protect ourselves by growing colder. But you did not design hearts to harden. You designed them to break open with compassion. So, Lord, teach me today how to live tenderly in a harsh world, how to reflect your kindness when cruelty seems easier, how to stay gentle without becoming weak. God, compassion is not natural when I feel rushed, threatened, or misunderstood. My first instinct is often defense, not mercy. Yet you call me to something higher, to answer hostility with grace, to meet indifference with empathy, to love when I receive nothing in return. This is difficult. Father, it stretches me beyond comfort. But I have seen what happens when kindness steps into darkness. It changes the atmosphere, softens hearts, and breaks cycles of bitterness. So start with me. Let my first response to any situation be guided by understanding, not judgment. Let my words carry healing instead of harm, even when silence would feel safer. Lord, open my eyes to the pain that hides behind people's behavior. Teach me to look past sharp tones and wary faces and see the quiet desperation that often drives them. Every harsh word I hear may be a cry for relief. Every impatient action may be a symptom of unseen exhaustion. You see the stories behind every soul. Help me to see glimpses of those stories. 2. Compassion begins not with answers, but with awareness. Give me the courage to notice, to pause long enough to listen, to care even when it slows my pace. Father, I think of the people I will meet today, the stranger at the store, the coworker who always complains, the friend who avoids eye contact, the neighbor whose life feels far from mine. Let me meet each one with an open spirit, free of assumptions. Help me remember that every person is fighting a battle I cannot see. Let me be a small interruption of kindness in their struggle, a smile, a patient tone, a word of encouragement that lingers longer than I realize. You once said that even a cup of cold water given in love carries eternal meaning. Let me not overlook the small mercies that change lives in quiet ways. God, protect me from compassion fatigue, from the slow erosion of empathy that happens when the world's suffering feels endless. It is tempting to turn away, to grow numb for the sake of self-preservation. But you never turned away, even on the cross. You saw the faces around you and spoke forgiveness. Give me a heart resilient enough to care without collapsing, strong enough to love without losing peace. Remind me that I am not called to save the world, but to reflect the Savior who already has. My compassion is the echo of your grace, not the source of it. Lord, help me also to extend compassion to those who challenge me the most. It is easy to be kind to the grateful, but difficult to love the proud, the bitter, or the cruel. Yet you loved me when I was unkind, when I was selfish and blind to grace. You met me with patience when I deserved distance. Let that memory humble me whenever I feel tempted to withdraw love. Teach me to see even my enemies through the lens of your mercy, not to excuse wrongdoing, but to recognize that brokenness is often the root of harm. Replace my urge to retaliate with the wisdom to forgive. Let compassion disarm what conflict cannot. Father, I also pray for those who carry compassion as a heavy calling, caregivers, teachers, counselors, and those who daily pour themselves out for others. Renew their strength where fatigue has drained it. Let them find rest in your presence, so their giving does not become empty motion. Remind them that the love they offer is not wasted. Even when it goes unnoticed, every act of kindness leaves a mark on eternity. For those whose hearts have grown weary from constant giving, refill their wells with your living water. God, teach me to show compassion to myself, too. I often forget that mercy must flow inward as well as outward. When I fail, Help me not to condemn myself so harshly. When I fall short, remind me that I am learning, not losing. Self-compassion is not indulgence, it is honesty with grace. Let me treat my own heart the way you do, firmly, truthfully, but always kindly. The more I accept your gentleness toward me, the more capable I become of offering it to others. Lord, make compassion my instinct rather than my intention. Let it become the natural rhythm of how I move through the day. When I speak, let empathy shape my tone. When I act, let generosity guide my choices. Let my presence bring relief, not tension. Peace, not pressure. Even when I am tired or misunderstood, let love remain my language. True compassion does not depend on perfect circumstances. It is a steady current flowing from a heart anchored in you. Father, I ask that you help me recognize opportunities to bring comfort where despair lives, at the hospital bed, the busy workplace, the quiet kitchen table, the crowded street. Each place can become a holy space when compassion enters. Let me be sensitive to the moments when a gentle touch or a few kind words might change the course of someone's day. Compassion may not solve their problems, but it can remind them that they are not alone. And when I end this day, looking back at every encounter, let me find peace, not because everything went smoothly, because I chose love when it was hardest. Let compassion be the legacy I leave in small interactions, the unseen gift that lingers long after I have gone. In a world that often rewards power over gentleness, let me carry the quiet strength of mercy. It is not weakness, it is the reflection of your heart beating within mine. So, Father, as this morning unfolds, clothe me once again in kindness, that every step I take would soften the ground for someone else to stand. Father, as compassion begins to settle deeply into my spirit, I sense you drawing me to another posture that gives its strength the quiet virtue of humility. Compassion without humility can easily turn into pride, into the subtle belief that kindness makes me superior rather than surrendered. But humility, when rooted in love, is not weakness. It is the freedom of knowing who I am and who I am not. It is remembering that everything good in me comes from you. So, Lord, as I step into this new day, teach me to walk gently, to lead without boasting, to serve without seeking notice, and to give without remembering. God, humility feels like a soft word in a world that celebrates noise. Everywhere I turn, people are urged to prove themselves, to defend, to rise higher, to claim more. And yet you whisper that greatness is found in lowering ourselves, in washing feet, in lifting others instead of ourselves. Help me live that paradox. When I am tempted to seek validation, remind me that I already have your approval. When I am tempted to measure myself against others, remind me that comparison is the thief of peace. Let me rest in the security of being loved, rather than in the pursuit of being admired. Lord, strip away the subtle pride that hides in good intentions the need to be right, to be seen as wise, to have the final word. Pride wears many disguises, even in prayer, even in service. It sneaks into my heart when I offer help but secretly want recognition. When I give advice without listening. When I judge others for stumbling where I once fell, confront me gently when I drift into self-importance. Teach me the art of quiet strength, the ability to influence without control, to speak truth without arrogance, to stand firm without shouting. Let humility be the fragrance of my spirit, the unseen grace that follows every action. Father, humility does not mean thinking less of myself. It means thinking of myself less. Help me to shift the center of my focus outward, to see others as equally cherished, equally in need of mercy, equally capable of being shaped by your grace. Remind me that every person I meet today carries a reflection of your image, even when it is hard to recognize. Let me honor that image by choosing respect over dismissal, patience over irritation, and understanding over assumption. When I feel wronged, let humility keep me from retaliating. When I am praised, let it keep me from forgetting who deserves the glory. God, give me the humility to learn. I confess that I often cling to my opinions as though they were sacred truths, forgetting how much I still have to grow. Help me to listen more than I speak, to ask questions rather than offer conclusions, to find wisdom even in voices I might have overlooked. Growth requires the courage to be teachable, and humility is its soil. So soften the hard ground of my pride until it can receive new seeds of understanding. Let me find joy in being corrected, gratitude in being refined, and peace in knowing that learning never ends. Lord, I also ask for humility in my successes. When things go well, it is easy to forget the countless invisible hands that made it possible, the encouragement of others, the opportunities I did not earn, the strength you placed in me. Let every victory remind me of my dependence, not my dominance. Let gratitude guard me from the illusion of self-sufficiency. And when people commend my work or my character, teach me to receive their kindness graciously, but to return the glory quietly to you. You are the source of every good gift. Without you, all my efforts turn to dust. Father, I bring to you the fear that sometimes hides beneath my pride, the fear of being overlooked, forgotten, or insignificant. Pride is often the armor I wear to hide insecurity, but humility teaches me that my worth was never mine to earn. It was bestowed. I am already known and loved, already held and purposed. Help me to rest in that truth so fully that I no longer need to prove anything. Let me move through the day with the calm assurance that I am seen by the one who matters most, and that is enough. God, humility also asks me to forgive quickly, for resentment is pride's silent ally. It whispers that I deserve better, that my pain gives me the right to withhold grace. But you forgave freely, without condition, without delay. Teach me to do the same. Let me remember how often I have been forgiven, and let that memory melt any hardness within me. When I kneel before you, the ground is level, no one higher, no one lower. Let that vision of equality shape how I treat others, especially those who have wounded me. Lord, show me how humility can transform my relationships. In conflict, let it make me gentle. In leadership, let it make me fair. In friendship, let it make me loyal. In love, let it make me selfless. and in every place of influence you entrust to me. Let humility be the steady anchor that keeps my soul from drifting into pride. True authority, after all, is not seized but received, and it flourishes best in those who know how to bow before they stand. Father, help me to remember that humility is not just an attitude. It is a daily practice. It is found in the choice to listen first, to serve quietly, to admit when I am wrong, to apologize when I have hurt others, and to celebrate when others succeed. It is not glamorous, but it is holy. Let it become second nature, a habit of heart that shapes every conversation, every thought, every decision. And as this day unfolds, let humility and grace walk beside me like twin companions, grace reminding me that I am loved, humility reminding me that everyone else is too. Let both flow through me until they are no longer separate virtues, but one living expression of your spirit. May every step I take today be light with gratitude, every word be wrapped in kindness, and every action whisper the quiet truth that everything good, everything lasting, begins and ends with you. Father, as humility takes root within me, I begin to notice how stillness follows close behind it, like a gentle companion. The more I let go of pride, the quieter my soul becomes. Peace is not the absence of noise or conflict, is the deep knowing that you are near, unshaken, and unchanging. Yet, Lord, I confess that peace is something I often lose without realizing it. It slips away in hurried thoughts, anxious decisions, or restless striving. Teach me, God, not just to receive peace as a momentary comfort, but to practice it as a discipline, to guard it, nurture it, and let it rule my heart even when circumstances swirl around me. Lord, the world around me feels restless. Everywhere I turn, there is tension, division, and fear disguised as confidence. People speak quickly and listen slowly. News travels faster than truth, and chaos often drowns out clarity. But you call me to be different, to be a quiet place in a noisy world, a steady presence where others can find rest. Help me live from that inner calm that comes from knowing you hold everything together. Let my peace not depend on the behavior of others or the conditions of my life, but on the constancy of your presence. Father, I realize that peace begins with trust. When my mind races ahead, imagining every possible outcome, fear steals what faith has built. I grasp for control, trying to manage what was never mine to hold. But peace comes when I surrender again, when I release my grip and remember that you are the author of every story, including mine. You see the road I cannot, and you walk it with me. So when uncertainty presses against my chest, remind me to breathe in your steadiness. Let each breath become an act of trust, each exhale a quiet confession that I am safe in your hands. God, teach me to be intentional about protecting my peace. There are conversations that drain it, distractions that steal it, and voices that distort it. Give me discernment to step away from what unsettles my soul, not out of avoidance, but out of wisdom. Peace is not passivity. It is perspective. It is the strength to stand without reacting, to speak without shouting, to act without fear. Let me respond to disruption with patience, and provocation with silence when silence is sacred. And when I must speak, let my words carry the tone of peace even in disagreement. Lord, I long for peace not only within myself, but also among the people around me. Let me be a bridge where others build walls. When conflict arises, make me an instrument of reconciliation, not revenge. Let humility guide my speech, empathy shape my responses, and forgiveness prepare the soil for healing. Peacemaking is costly, but so is division. Teach me the courage to initiate calm where tension grows, to choose understanding over winning, and to value restoration over pride. Help me to remember that peace is not a compromise of truth, but a reflection of love. Father, help me to create peaceful rhythms in my days. The world glorifies business, but you invite me to rest. You remind me that even in creation, you paused not because you were tired, but because you delighted in what was good. Teach me to pause, too. Let me begin my mornings in stillness, move through my tasks with grace, and end my evenings with gratitude. Let my pace mirror yours, unhurried yet purposeful, gentle yet steadfast. When I feel overwhelmed, remind me that I do not need to chase life. I only need to walk faithfully through the moments you have already prepared. God, sometimes the battle for peace happens not in my surroundings, but in my mind. Worry, doubt, and self-criticism creep in quietly and build storms that no one else can see. When they rise, help me to anchor my thoughts in truth. Replace anxious imagination with promises that do not fail. Remind me that your word is not a theory, but a refuge. That your peace is not fragile, but fierce enough to still any storm. Let me speak peace over my own soul, as you once spoke it over the waves. And let the wind of fear fall silent before your name. Lord, teach me also to honor peace through boundaries, those quiet lines of wisdom that protect the heart from chaos. There are times I must say no, not from selfishness, but from stewardship. There are places I must not go, conversations I must not entertain, and burdens I must not carry. Give me the strength to honor those limits with grace. The discipline of peace is not about withdrawal from life, but about walking through it with balance, and knowing that I can only give from what I first receive. Father, I think of those who live without peace today, the restless, the anxious, the angry, the lonely, the ones whose hearts race with worry or ache from regret. Surround them now with the same stillness you are teaching me. Let them feel the weight of your hand, gentle but firm, steadying their breathing, quieting their thoughts. Use me, if you will, to carry that peace into their lives, to offer not advice, but presence. Not solutions, but compassion. Sometimes peace does not need to be spoken. It only needs to be shared. God, remind me that peace is not fragile. It is not a delicate emotion easily broken by hardship. It is a fortress built on faith, a shelter that stands through storms. It is the deep current that runs beneath the surface of chaos, untouched by waves above. Let that current run through me today. Let it shape how I walk, speak, and decide. Let others feel its calm even before they understand its source. And as this day unfolds, Lord, Let peace be the posture of my spirit and the language of my presence. When I enter a room, let tension ease. When I speak, let anxiety soften. When I leave, let serenity remain. The world will always rush, worry, and demand, but I belong to you, and you are peace itself. Let my life whisper that truth not through perfection, but through quiet steadiness, through a spirit anchored in the one who never changes. Father, as peace begins to anchor my heart more deeply, I feel you gently guiding me toward another act of courage, one that stretches my spirit in ways no outward work ever could. Forgiveness. It is the quiet bridge between peace and freedom, the door that opens when bitterness has kept me locked inside too long. Yet, Lord, I confess that forgiveness is not easy. My heart clings to its wounds, tracing old injustices as if remembering them could protect me from pain. But you whisper that healing cannot grow in a closed hand. So today, Father, teach me to let go fully, honestly, tenderly, to release what I have carried far too long. Lord, forgiveness feels like surrender, and in a way, it is the surrender of the right to retaliate, the release of the need to be understood, the letting go of what I cannot fix. But you remind me that it is not weakness, it is strength clothed in grace. It takes more courage to forgive than to hold a grudge. When I forgive, I do not excuse. I choose to be free. The world tells me to protect my pride, but you call me to protect my peace. So help me, God, to trade resentment for compassion, to replace anger with understanding, to see those who hurt me through the same mercy that has always covered me. Father, I bring before you the memories that still sting, words that cut deep, betrayals that changed me, disappointments that reshaped my trust. You know them all, the conversations that ended too soon, the relationships that fractured, the moments I replay in silence. You were there in each one, even when I could not see you. Help me to revisit these memories, not to reopen wounds, but to release them into your hands. Let your love wash over what human apologies never mended. Where understanding is impossible, let grace stand in its place. God, remind me that forgiveness is not a one-time act, but a process. Some days, I release the pain easily. Other days, it returns like a tide, pulling me back toward resentment. On those days, meet me with patience. Whisper again that I am not failing, I am healing. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is choosing peace each time anger resurfaces. It is refusing to let the past dictate the temperature of my heart. So even when it takes time, keep me on this path of release. Each step toward grace, no matter how small, is still progress toward freedom. Lord, I also ask for the strength to forgive myself. This may be the hardest of all. I remember the moments when I spoke carelessly, when I gave up too soon, when I failed those who depended on me. The regret runs deep, and shame lingers like a shadow. Yet you do not hold these things against me. You already offer forgiveness long before I thought to ask for it. Help me to accept what you have freely given, to stop punishing myself for what you have already redeemed. Teach me to live not as one bound by failure, but as one restored by mercy. Father, Forgiveness has a power I often forget. It transforms not only relationships, but entire generations. Bitterness can echo through families, shaping hearts before they even know the reason for their hardness. But forgiveness breaks that echo. It changes the tone of a household, the atmosphere of a heart, the story of a life. Let that healing begin with me. Make me a peacemaker in my home, a bridge where division once stood. Let kindness replace cold distance, gentleness replace pride. Teach me that reconciliation is not weakness, but a reflection of divine strength, the same strength that held you to the cross when love was the only reason to stay. Lord, I pray also for those I cannot yet forgive. Some wounds are too fresh, too deep, too complex for easy healing. But even here, plant the seed of willingness within me. Let me desire to forgive, even if I cannot yet do it fully. Your Spirit can do what my will cannot. Soften the edges of my anger, loosen the knots of my resentment, and remind me that justice and mercy are not enemies in your hands. I do not need to balance them. I only need to trust that you will. God, give me eyes to see how forgiveness opens doors for your blessings to flow again. Unforgiveness builds walls that block peace, while grace tears them down. When I forgive, I make room for joy to return, for love to breathe, for laughter to sound where silence once lived. It is not about the other person deserving it. It is about me choosing to be whole. Let me remember that every act of forgiveness, no matter how painful, is a small echo of your own heart, the heart that forgave a world that did not ask to be forgiven. Father, there is also the forgiveness I must seek from others. Pride resists it, fear delays it, but honesty demands it. Give me the humility to apologize where I have caused hurt, the courage to repair what I have broken, and the grace to accept forgiveness when it is offered. Let me never be too proud to say I was wrong, too slow to make things right, too hardened to care. Reconciliation begins with honesty, and honesty is an act of love. Let my repentance be sincere, not just spoken but lived, proved through changed behavior and gentle presence. Lord, help me remember that forgiveness does not erase boundaries or require me to stay where I was hurt. It means releasing bitterness, not common sense. You call me to love, but you also call me to wisdom. Show me how to guard my heart without hardening it, how to walk away without hate, how to protect peace without forfeiting compassion. True forgiveness carries strength. It does not bow to abuse, but rises above it. Father, as I breathe in this morning air, I feel the lightness that forgiveness brings, a weight lifting, a quiet relief unfolding in my chest. It is the kind of freedom that cannot be earned, only chosen. Let me live today with a heart unburdened by old pain, a spirit free to love without fear, a mind uncluttered by grudges. Let my life become proof that forgiveness, not just an act of faith, it is the rhythm of the redeemed, the song of those who have been set free. And as this day moves forward, let that song play quietly through me. Let it soften every word I speak, guide every choice I make, and remind me that peace grows wherever forgiveness has taken root. For to forgive is to reflect you, and that is the highest calling I could ever live. Father, as forgiveness loosens the last chains around my heart, I find myself stepping into a new kind of quiet. It is not the silence of emptiness, but the stillness that follows surrender, a deep, grounded peace that breathes beneath the noise of the world. You have taught me to release, to trust, to forgive. Now you teach me to be still. In a life filled with motion, this feels unnatural, yet I sense that in this quiet space, you do your most profound work. So, Lord, help me to linger here, to rest not as escape, but as attention to listen for what only silence can reveal. God, stillness is not the absence of activity. It is the presence of awareness. It is the moment when my soul stops striving long enough to notice that you are already here. In the pause between my thoughts, you whisper reassurance. In the calm between my breaths, you renew my strength. I often mistake your still voice for silence because I am too busy filling the space with my own noise. But you do not compete for my attention. You wait for it. Teach me to wait with you, to sit in the unhurried rhythm of grace until my inner storms settle and my priorities align once more with heaven. Father, I confess how easily I become addicted to motion. The world praises activity and progress, measuring worth by productivity. But you invite me into something deeper, into being. You remind me that I am not defined by what I produce, but by who I am in you. Help me resist the temptation to measure the day by what I accomplish. Let me instead measure it by how often I remember your presence. Stillness is not wasted time. It is holy ground where I rediscover who I was made to be. Let me not rush past that sacred reminder. Lord, teach me to bring stillness into the middle of movement. I cannot live my whole life in solitude, but I can carry peace with me into noise. Show me how to pause even while doing, to breathe deeply in crowded moments, to anchor my soul before I speak, act, or decide. Let my composure become contagious. Let others sense in me a calm that does not come from discipline alone, but from dwelling in divine steadiness. The world is hungry for peace. Let me be a quiet vessel that carries it. God, sometimes stillness feels like confrontation. When everything grows quiet, old fears rise from their hiding places. The silence reveals what distraction once disguised. It shows me my doubts, my wounds, my unhealed places. But even this is grace. For how can healing come if I never look closely at what hurts? When the stillness feels heavy, remind me that you are not absent. You are working beneath the surface, turning discomfort into transformation. Help me to stay long enough in the quiet to let you complete what you have begun. Father, I ask for wisdom to discern when to move and when to remain. Life often demands decisions before my heart feels ready. But you are not bound by urgency. Your timing is precise. So, when I stand at crossroads, still my anxious reasoning until I can sense the subtle nudge of your spirit. When doors open too quickly, help me not to run through them out of fear of missing out. When doors remain closed, let me rest in the assurance that delay does not mean denial. In stillness, clarity grows. In patience, wisdom matures. Let me choose both over haste. Lord, I have learned that stillness is also a form of strength. It takes courage to pause when everyone else is rushing, to remain calm when others panic, to trust when outcomes are uncertain. Let me not confuse stillness with weakness. It is the quiet power of faith, the kind that does not need to shout to be sure, that does not need to prove to believe. When challenges arise, let my first instinct be not reaction, but reflection. Let my heart settle before my hands move. In that sacred pause, I will find your guidance waiting like light breaking through clouds. God, help me protect this inner stillness throughout the day. Guard it against the intrusion of worry, against the constant noise of comparison, against the weight of expectations that others may place upon me. Let me carry silence like a hidden sanctuary within me, a place I can return to at any moment, even amid laughter, work, and conversation. Keep my spirit centered. Let my thoughts move through the day like a slow, steady river, peaceful, purposeful, and grounded in your flow. Father, teach me to listen more than I speak. The world rarely values listening, yet it is in listening that empathy grows, that understanding deepens, that healing begins. Let me listen not just to words, but to hearts, to pauses, to the unsaid truths that hide behind smiles. Let me listen for your whispers between the sounds of life. In stillness, I hear what truly matters, the reminder that every person I meet is a soul loved by you, and that every moment is an invitation to love them better. Lord, I know there will be seasons when stillness feels impossible, when life demands movement, when decisions press urgently, when noise overwhelms. In those times, teach me to find stillness and trust. Even when I cannot stop, I can still be grounded. Even when the world moves fast, I can move at the pace of grace. Let peace become my rhythm, not my luxury. Let my spirit remain aligned with your heartbeat, no matter how loud the world becomes. God, I thank you for this sacred invitation to be still and know that you are God. Those words are not a suggestion, but a promise. In knowing you, I find strength. In stillness, I rediscover purpose. The calm you offer is not fragile. It is fierce and eternal, born from the certainty that nothing can separate me from your love. As this morning unfolds, let that truth steady me. And so, Father, as the world begins to stir outside my window, I choose not to rush into its noise, but to carry this quiet with me. Let every step I take today flow from this still place. Every word I speak emerge from a peaceful heart. Let me live not as one running from silence, but as one who has learned to dwell within it. For it is in stillness that I hear your voice most clearly, and in your voice that I find my peace, my wisdom, and my strength. Father, as stillness deepens and quiet wisdom begins to take shape within me, I feel you calling me toward movement again, not the hurried striving of before, but the steady walk of faith. Stillness teaches me to listen. Faith teaches me to act. The two are never meant to be separate. One roots me. The other carries me forward. So now, Lord, as I rise from the calm you have placed inside me, strengthen my steps to follow where you lead, even when the path ahead is hidden in mist. God, faith is not always a feeling. Sometimes it is a trembling decision to trust you when evidence is scarce, to believe in light before dawn, to build when there are no blueprints yet. There are mornings when I wake with confidence, and others when I rise with uncertainty. Yet you remind me that faith is not about how steady I feel. It is about how steady you are. You never waver, even when I do. You remain the same yesterday, today, and forever. Let that truth become the ground beneath my feet when doubt tries to shake me. Lord, help me to live a faith that moves beyond words. Too often I say I trust you, but still plan every outcome as if you might forget. I pray for guidance, then rush ahead before you have finished speaking. Teach me the patience to wait for your direction and the courage to move when you say, go. Faith is not paralysis, nor is it control, it is partnership. It is stepping out even when I can't see the whole staircase, trusting that each step will appear beneath me as I move forward. Father, remind me that faith often grows in small acts of obedience. It is not always found in grand gestures or miraculous signs. Sometimes it is in the quiet yes whispered through trembling lips, the gentle persistence in prayer when answers delay, the decision to show kindness again after being hurt, or to believe again after disappointment. Let me find you in those moments that seem ordinary, for that is where faith truly lives, not in spectacle, in steadfastness. God, I confess that fear often hides behind logic. I tell myself I am being wise when, deep down, I am simply afraid. But you did not give me a spirit of fear. You gave me one of power, love, and a sound mind. Replace my careful calculations with holy confidence. Let my faith not be reckless, but fearless. When you open doors that seem too wide, give me the boldness to walk through. When you ask me to release what feels too valuable, remind me that nothing surrendered to you is ever lost, it is only transformed. Lord, help me to see that faith is not blind. It sees differently. It looks beyond what is visible and perceives the hand of God at work in places where human sight finds nothing, interprets delay as preparation, pain as refining, and uncertainty as invitation. Faith does not deny reality, it simply refuses to let reality be the final word. Teach me to hold that vision in my heart, especially when circumstances contradict hope. Let me learn to say, even here, even now, you are working. Father, when I face seasons of silence, when prayers linger unanswered and the heavens feel closed, help me not to mistake silence for absence. Faith begins where feelings end. Even when I cannot hear you, I will choose to believe you are near. Remind me that trust built on emotions will crumble, but trust built on character will endure. I know who you are, and that is enough to keep walking. Let me rest not in understanding every detail, but in knowing the one who holds them all. God, sometimes faith looks like endurance pressing forward, when progress seems invisible. Teach me to keep sowing seeds even when the ground looks barren. Every season of waiting is not wasted. It is the soil of growth. When doubt whispers that nothing is changing, help me to remember that roots grow before blossoms appear. What you are doing in secret will one day bloom in light. Until then, keep my hand steady and my heart believing. Lord, I ask for faith that lifts others, too. Let my trust in you become contagious, a quiet testimony that inspires hope where despair has settled. When people around me falter, Let them find strength through the peace that steadies my eyes. Use my journey as proof that faith is not naive, it is necessary. It is the bridge between promise and fulfillment, the song sung in darkness that calls dawn to rise. Let me walk as someone who has already seen the sunrise, even when night still lingers. Father, help me remember that faith and gratitude are companions. Every time I thank you for what I cannot yet see, my faith grows stronger. Every time I praise you in uncertainty, heaven leans closer. So let my worship rise not just in triumph, but also in tension. Let my trust be a melody that does not depend on outcomes. Even if I see no sign, I will choose to believe that goodness is still unfolding, that love is still working, that miracles are still being born quietly in the unseen. God, I know faith will always require courage, the courage to walk into the unknown, to risk vulnerability, to stand firm when others give up. But courage is not loud. It often whispers. Keep going. It is the steady heartbeat of perseverance, the unseen strength that refuses to quit. When fear knocks, let faith answer. When the road curves and the view disappears, let me remember that I am not walking alone. You are beside me, within me, before me. The path may twist, but your presence does not. And so, Lord, as this new day unfolds, I step forward with open hands and a steady heart. I will not demand certainty. I will choose trust. I will not chase signs. I will walk by faith, whether I see the outcome or not. I know you are writing goodness into every moment. Let faith be the rhythm of my steps today, the quiet courage that keeps me moving, the unwavering assurance that I am safe in the care of a faithful God who never fails. Father, as faith continues to shape my heart, I feel something awakening, something lighter, softer, and full of quiet radiance. It is hope, not the shallow optimism the world offers, but the living, breathing kind that anchors the soul when everything else seems uncertain. Hope is what faith looks like when it begins to sing. It is the gentle assurance that your promises still stand, even when I have yet to see their fulfillment. So, Lord, as this new morning dawns, breathe that hope into me again. Let it rise like the sunlight slowly, faithfully, unstoppable. Lord, there were days when hope felt impossible, when disappointment lingered like a shadow and unanswered prayers whispered doubts into my spirit. I tried to protect my heart by expecting less, believing less, dreaming less. But you never asked me to shrink to avoid pain. You asked me to trust that resurrection follows every crucifixion. You are not just the God of what has been, you are the God of what will be. Teach me to look forward again, to open the windows of my heart to the wind of your new beginnings. God, hope is often misunderstood. It is not a denial of pain or a refusal to acknowledge loss. It is courage dressed in light, the decision to believe that broken things can still be made whole. It is the strength to smile in the middle of mourning, the willingness to begin again even when the past still aches. You, Lord, are the author of that kind of hope. You wrote it into every sunrise, every heartbeat, every tear that turns into prayer. Remind me that the same hands that shaped the world are still shaping my tomorrow. Father, I want to live as someone who expects goodness, not because life is predictable, but because you are faithful. Let my eyes search for beauty even in the ordinary, for blessings even in delay, for growth even in struggle. Hope does not wait for perfection. It finds light in the cracks. Help me to hold on to that light, especially when I walk through uncertainty. Let me trust that the path I am on, though winding, though sometimes dim, is still leading somewhere beautiful. Lord, there are people who have lost their sense of hope entirely. Some wake each day under the weight of despair, so heavy they can hardly breathe. Others have stopped believing that change is possible. Their dreams lie buried beneath years of disappointment. For them, I lift my heart in prayer. Touch the ones who no longer have the strength to hope for themselves. Whisper to them that is not over, that new seasons are already unfolding quietly. Even if they cannot yet see the green breaking through the soil. God, hope sometimes requires imagination, the holy ability to see beyond what is visible. The world often calls this foolishness, but you call it faith in motion. You invite me to see possibilities where others see endings, to anticipate joy where sorrow has camped too long. Help me to keep that divine imagination alive within me. Let me dream not for my own comfort, but in alignment with your purpose. When you give me glimpses of what could be, help me to protect them like seeds, watering them with prayer, trusting them to bloom in their time. Father, I want to be a carrier of hope for others. Let my words build bridges, not walls. Let my presence bring calm instead of fear. When I encounter someone broken by life, help me to listen, not with pity, but with empathy, to see them not as lost, but as loved. Hope spreads quietly, through kindness, through presence, through the small acts of compassion that remind people they are not forgotten. Let me be that reminder today. Lord, hope also means endurance. It is not a feeling that flickers with the wind. It is the steady flame that keeps burning through the night. When I grow weary waiting for change, strengthen that flame. When disappointment tries to extinguish it, shield it with your promises. Remind me that hope is not built on what I see, but on who you are. Even in the longest night, the stars still shine, and they are enough to guide me until dawn returns. God, I think of all the times you restored what seemed irretrievably lost, lives rebuilt after devastation, hearts healed after betrayal, dreams reborn after years of silence. You have always been the God who brings something out of nothing, life out of dust, song out of sorrow. If you have done it before, you can do it again. Let that remembrance feed my confidence. The same power that raised beauty from ashes is working now, quietly, faithfully, within and around me. Father, let hope not only dwell in my heart, but shape my perspective. Let it be the lens through which I see the world, the reason I keep showing up. Keep believing. Keep loving. Even when the results take time, hope is not passive. It leans forward, anticipating goodness with open hands. It sees beyond the storm to the clearing skies ahead. Let me carry that kind of expectancy into every part of my day. Let my decisions reflect belief. not fear. Let my speech carry optimism, not cynicism. Lord, as I stand at this point in the journey, I realize that hope and trust walk hand in hand. Trust tells me you are with me now. Hope tells me you will still be with me tomorrow. Together, they form the melody that steadies my heart. So let this morning be filled with their song, a gentle hymn rising with the sun. May it echo through every hour that follows, reminding me that I am not walking toward uncertainty, but toward fulfillment. And so, God, as the light grows brighter and the world begins to stir, I anchor myself once again in your promise. I will not fear what comes next, because you have already gone before me. I will not give in to despair, because hope has taken root too deeply to be uprooted. Let that hope bloom today in every word I speak, every thought I nurture, every act I choose. For where hope lives, faith breathes, and love endures, and in that holy trinity of grace, my soul finds its morning again. Father, as hope settles into my heart and begins to take root, I feel the quiet stirring of new strength rising within me. It is not the loud, defiant kind that demands attention, but the deep, enduring strength that comes from peace, from trust, from the quiet knowing that you are near, the kind of strength that does not come from willpower, but from surrender. You are teaching me that true strength is not found in how tightly I hold on, but in how completely I lean on you. So this morning, Lord, I come not to prove my resilience, but to receive yours. God, I once thought strength meant never breaking, never faltering, never showing weakness, but you have shown me a better way. Strength is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of grace in the midst of it. It is the choice to keep standing when my knees tremble, to keep loving when my heart aches, to keep believing when sight has failed. The strongest souls are not the ones untouched by pain, but the ones who refuse to let pain define them. Remind me, Father, that even when I feel weary, I am not without power, because your strength is made perfect in weakness. Lord, there are moments when exhaustion feels heavier than fear, when I have given all I can and still feel it is not enough, when expectations crush, when progress slows, when dreams seem delayed. In those moments, teach me the sacred rhythm of rest, not the kind that simply pauses activity, but the kind that restores purpose. Let me lay down my burdens at your feet and find renewal not in escape, but in encounter. Your presence is not a place to hide from life. It is the place where life begins again. Father, I have learned that strength often grows in the unseen, in the slow rebuilding of the spirit while no one is watching, like roots deepening beneath the soil, unseen but essential. Remind me that unseen progress is not wasted when no one notices the effort. You do, when no one applauds the endurance. You smile. You see the long nights, the quiet perseverance, the small choices to keep believing. Let me be content with that unseen strengthening, trusting that what grows in secret will one day sustain the visible fruit of my life. God, give me the strength to face what I cannot change, and the courage to change what I can. Help me discern the difference with a calm heart. There are storms I cannot stop, losses I cannot undo, and seasons I cannot rush. In those places, let surrender be my strength. But in the areas where you call me to act, to rise, to rebuild, let determination fill me like fire. Remind me that resilience is not stubbornness. It is faith in motion. It is standing again, not because the fall did not hurt, but because grace lifted me. Lord, sometimes I forget that joy itself is a form of strength. The ability to smile amid uncertainty, to laugh even when the outcome is unclear. That is not denial. It is defiance against despair. Let joy be my rebellion against fear. Let gratitude become the language of my strength. When I count blessings instead of burdens, I am reminded that I have more than enough. When I notice small gifts, the warmth of sunlight, the comfort of breath, the kindness of others, I realize that you are always sustaining me in ways I overlook. Father, strengthen my faith to endure not just the storms, but the waiting that follows them. Waiting can be its own kind of battle, the slow erosion of expectation, the temptation to settle for less, the fatigue of delayed answers. But even in waiting, you are working, like the steady heartbeat of time, unseen yet constant. Your promises pulse through the silence. Teach me to rest in that rhythm. Let waiting refine me instead of weakening me. Let it deepen my trust rather than diminish it. God, I ask for strength not just for myself, but for those who are weary around me. The ones who wake up with heaviness in their chest, who smile through exhaustion, who serve others while running on empty. Strengthen them, Lord, in the ways only you can. Let them feel your nearness in the quiet hours of the day. Whisper to them that they are seen, valued, and carried. Use me, if you will, as a vessel of encouragement, a gentle word, a listening heart, a presence that reminds them they are not alone. Lord, remind me that strength is not loud. It is not always visible or celebrated. Sometimes it looks like forgiving when I would rather hold on to anger. Sometimes it is showing up when I feel like disappearing. Sometimes it is choosing to hope when fear screams louder. Teach me to honor those small victories, those unseen acts of endurance that shape character far more deeply than public triumphs ever could. Let me live as someone who draws strength not from applause, but from alignment with your will. Father, as this day unfolds, help me to walk in the quiet confidence that I am equipped for whatever it brings, not because I am strong enough on my own, but because you are my strength within. You are the breath that steadies me, the hand that lifts me, the light that guides me when I grow uncertain, when obstacles arise. Let my first instinct not be panic but prayer. When pressure builds, let my heart remember the peace that surpasses understanding. You are not asking me to conquer this day alone. You are inviting me to walk through it with you. God, I thank you that your strength is endless. It does not diminish when I fail. It does not weaken when I doubt. It does not disappear when I grow tired. You remain steadfast, and in your constancy, I find renewal. Let this morning be more than just the start of another day. Let it be a revival of spirit, a reminder that I am not running on empty. For your strength is the river that never runs dry. And so, Lord, I rise now not as one weary, but as one renewed. The weight I carried yesterday no longer defines me. The fatigue that once drained me has become testimony. I step forward not because I am invincible, but because I am sustained. Let every word, every thought, every act I offer today flow from the quiet power of a soul strengthened by grace. For in you, Father, I find the strength to begin again, and that is enough. Father, as strength begins to settle into my spirit, it brings with it a warmth that feels like sunlight, steady, gentle, and transforming. Gratitude is that light. It awakens my heart to the abundance already surrounding me and turns even the simplest moments into sacred ground. I realize now that every breath, every sunrise, every act of grace is a gift that often passes unnoticed. So, Lord, before I ask for anything more, I want to pause and thank you for everything that already is. Gratitude does not change what I have. It changes how I see God. I have learned that thanksgiving is not reserved for when everything feels easy. It is a discipline of perception, a daily practice of seeing you in both the comfort and the challenge. Gratitude reminds me that I am not defined by what is missing, but by what has been given. When I count blessings instead of burdens, I find myself rich beyond measure. When I look closely, I see your fingerprints on everything. The kindness of a stranger, the laughter of a friend, the lessons hidden in loss, the quiet reassurance in prayer. Every piece of life, when held up to the light, reflects your goodness. Lord, teach me to begin each morning with thankfulness. Before worry whispers its noise, before fear builds its case, let gratitude set the tone. Let my first thoughts not be about what I must do, but about the gift of simply being here, alive, loved, purposed. Gratitude aligns my heart with yours. It reminds me that I am sustained not by achievement, but by grace. I do not wake by accident. I wake because mercy decided I still have a reason to shine. Father, help me to be thankful even for the things I once resented, for unanswered prayers that protected me from paths not meant for me, for closed doors that redirected me toward better ones, for hardships that built endurance and humility. Gratitude transforms memory. It turns regret into reflection and pain into perspective. The more I thank you for what once hurt, the more I see how every season, even the difficult ones, carried purpose. Nothing was wasted. Everything was shaping. God, I want to live with eyes that notice. Too often, I move too fast, rushing from one demand to another, missing the quiet miracles woven into ordinary hours. Help me to slow down, to breathe, to see the sunlight on the wall, the laughter of children, the scent of rain, the softness of forgiveness. These are sermons in themselves, reminders that beauty still blooms even in broken places. Gratitude turns awareness into worship, and I long to live that way, to see everything as a reminder of you. Lord, gratitude also has a way of healing the heart. When I am thankful, bitterness loses its grip. When I give thanks, envy fades into contentment. When I choose appreciation, anxiety loses its voice. Gratitude does not erase pain, but it shifts the weight of it. It reminds me that even in hardship, there is still goodness to hold on to. Let thanksgiving become my default response. the steady rhythm that keeps me anchored when life grows uncertain. Father, I also thank you for the people you have placed in my life, the ones who walk beside me, who love me through my imperfections, who remind me of your kindness in human form. For family, for friendship, for those who pray for me silently and cheer for me quietly, I give thanks. Each connection is a thread in the tapestry of grace, woven by your design. Let me never take them for granted. Help me to express gratitude openly, to speak appreciation while there is still time. A thankful heart must not remain silent. It must give what it receives, kindness for kindness, love for love. God, thank you for the unseen protections, the accidents avoided, the temptations resisted, the dangers diverted without my awareness. How many times have you intervened silently while I went about unaware? How many storms did you calm before they reached my shores? Gratitude humbles me when I realize how much of my safety, my provision, and my peace comes not from my effort, but from your unseen hand. Let that awareness deepen my reverence for you. Lord, I also thank you for the dreams still unfolding, the promises not yet fulfilled, the prayers still waiting in the air. Gratitude is not only for what has happened, but for what will come. Hope and thankfulness are intertwined. One looks forward, the other looks back, and together they steady the soul in the present. Even before I see the full picture, I can thank you for the masterpiece in progress. Every unfinished piece of my story is still being written by a faithful author. Father, gratitude teaches me to live with open hands. When I am thankful, I stop clinging. I learn to receive without fear and to release without regret. Every gift has its season, every blessing its purpose, and every ending its quiet grace. When I thank you, I learn to trust you. Gratitude is the bridge between surrender and joy. The reminder that life is not about control but connection between creator and creation, between giver and gift. God, let thankfulness shape how I treat others. Let me encourage more than I criticize, compliment more than I complain, serve more than I expect to be served. Gratitude transforms not only how I see the world, but how I show up in it. Let my words carry warmth, my actions carry kindness, and my presence carry peace. When people encounter me, let them feel seen, valued, and uplifted, because that is how you make me feel. Lord, as this morning stretches into day, let gratitude become my rhythm. Let it flow through every conversation, every decision, every breath. When challenges arise, let thankfulness steady me. When blessings overflow, let humility ground me. Let me remember that joy is not something I must chase. It grows naturally in the soil of gratitude. And when the day ends and the sun begins to fade, let my final thought be as my first thank you. Father, for everything, for what was, for what is, and for what will be. Father, as gratitude fills my spirit like morning light spreading across the sky, I sense that every blessing, every act of grace, and every breath of peace leads back to one eternal truth: love. Everything begins with it. Everything grows from it. Everything returns to it. You are love itself, the steady pulse that sustains the universe, the unseen rhythm that holds every heart. The more I dwell in gratitude, the more clearly I see that love is both the root and the fruit of all you are doing in me. So now, Lord, let this be the prayer that defines my life. Teach me to love as you love. God, love is simple when spoken, but sacred when lived. It asks not for grand gestures, but for quiet faithfulness. It thrives in the unseen acts of kindness, in the patience that listens when it would rather speak, in the forgiveness that chooses peace over pride. Teach me that love is not an emotion to chase, but a decision to remain steady, generous, and pure. It is a choice made daily, even when the feeling fades, even when understanding fails. Your love has never been fleeting. Let mine mirror that constancy. Lord, I confess that loving as you do is not always easy. It demands humility when I want recognition, grace when I want control, compassion when I want distance. Yet love is strongest in its costliness. You showed that on the cross that true love gives, even when it hurts. So when loving others feels heavy, remind me that I am not giving from emptiness, but from overflow. I can only love well because I am already loved completely. Let that truth free me from fear, from the need to earn or prove worth. Father, help me love without condition. It is easy to care for those who are kind, to be patient with those who agree, to give when I expect return. But divine love asks for more. It calls me to extend kindness to those who misunderstand me, to pray for those who wound me, to see beauty even in those whose hearts are hardened. Let my love not depend on merit, but on mercy. When I encounter brokenness in others, help me to remember that I, too, am a recipient of undeserved grace. Love does not keep score, it keeps hope. God, let love reshape how I see the world. The world teaches me to categorize, to compare, to compete, but your love dissolves all boundaries. It reminds me that every person carries a divine imprint. Every soul is known by name, and every story matters. When I pass strangers on the street, when I hear of suffering from afar, awaken in me the compassion to care. Love is not limited by proximity. It travels across distance through prayer, through empathy, through the quiet H of shared humanity. Let my heart grow wide enough to hold the world as you do. Lord, love also asks for courage. It requires vulnerability, the willingness to open my heart knowing it may be misunderstood or rejected. But to love is to live. It is to risk pain for the sake of connection, to trust again after betrayal, to keep believing in goodness despite disappointment. When I am tempted to close off, remind me that self-protection may keep me safe, but it will also keep me small. Love, even when wounded, still heals. It is both the scar and the balm. Let me live boldly enough to love fully. Father, help me love myself rightly, not with pride or vanity, but with the same gentleness you show me. I am your creation, fearfully and wonderfully made. Too often, I speak harshly to my own soul, expecting perfection you never required. Teach me to extend to myself the same patience I offer others. Let self-compassion not make me complacent, but confident in who I am becoming through you. When I honor the work you are doing in me, I learn to honor it in others too. God, let love guide my words. Words have power to wound or to heal, to build or to destroy. Let everything I say carry kindness. Even in correction, let my speech bring peace. Not noise. Hope. Not heaviness. May my tone reflect tenderness. My language reflect truth spoken in grace. The world has enough harshness. Let my voice be an instrument of calm, even in silence. Let love speak through my demeanor, through my patience, through my willingness to listen deeply before responding. Lord, I thank you for the people who have loved me into healing, for those who stayed when I had nothing to offer, who spoke light into my darkness, who reflected your compassion through their presence. Their love was not flawless, but it was real, and through it, I saw glimpses of you. Help me to be that reflection for others. Let me love without needing to be seen, to serve without seeking reward, to give without keeping count. Every act of genuine love is an echo of eternity. Father, love is not only soft, it is strong. It defends the oppressed, stands for truth, and endures through testing. Let me not mistake gentleness for passivity. True love acts. It feeds the hungry, comforts the lonely, forgives the undeserving, and restores the broken. Make me brave enough to love with both tenderness and conviction, to speak truth when silence would be easier, and to show mercy when judgment would be justified. Love that costs nothing changes nothing. Let my love leave a mark. God, let love be the measure of my day. Let it decide how I spend my time, how I handle conflict, how I approach work, how I view success. Without love, everything loses meaning. Let me remember that the smallest act done with love carries more eternal weight than the grandest act done without it. When I walk into each space today, let my presence bring calm instead of competition, peace instead of pressure, kindness instead of comparison. And Lord, as this new day unfolds, let love be the thread that weaves through it all, the foundation of every word, the motive behind every action, the answer to every question. Let it be patient when time feels long, gentle when anger tempts, generous when scarcity whispers. Let it remind me that I am here not merely to exist, but to love. For love, Father, is the very reason you breathe life into every dawn. And if I can love truly and deeply, then I have already touched heaven on earth. Father, after walking through the lessons of love, I find my heart growing quieter once again. Love has softened what was hardened, and now you lead me into something deeper, the sacred act of surrender. It is not defeat, though the world often sees it that way. It is the moment when striving finally rests, when control loosens its grip and trust takes its rightful place. Surrender is not the end of strength. It is its beginning. It is the recognition that I cannot be both the architect and the creation, that peace comes only when I yield my plans to the one who knows how to complete them. Lord, surrender feels different from giving up. Giving up is hopelessness. Surrender is holy confidence. It is laying down what was never mine to carry, not because I am weak, but because I finally understand that your wisdom reaches farther than mine ever could. Teach me that surrender is not losing control, it is returning it to its rightful owner. When I let go, I make room for you to work. When I stop forcing outcomes, I discover miracles unfolding in silence. God, I confess how often I resist this kind of trust. My hands clutch what feels familiar. Even when it exhausts me, my mind spins with questions, trying to predict what you are already preparing. I plan, I push, I worry, and I call it responsibility. But deep down, it is the fear that if I stop managing everything, my life will fall apart. Yet, time and again, you show me that when I release my grip, you hold things together more beautifully than I ever could. Help me to live with open hands, believing that what you give will always be greater than what I let go of. Father, surrender requires faith in timing. I want things to happen now, quickly, neatly, but you move like the tide, steady, purposeful, sometimes unseen. There are prayers that linger unanswered, dreams that seem delayed, changes that feel too slow. In those seasons, remind me that delay does not mean denial. Sometimes you withhold what I want to protect what I need. Sometimes you wait not because I am forgotten, because you are perfecting the soil of my heart before planting new seeds. Let me trust your timing, even when it stretches my patience. Lord, help me to surrender not only outcomes, but also understanding. I want to know why things happen, to make sense of pain, to see reason in loss. Yet some mysteries are meant to be carried, not solved. Teach me to live with questions, to rest in unknowing, to trust that clarity will come when it is needed, not when demanded. Surrender means saying, I do not understand, but I still believe. It is the purest form of worship, when faith chooses to bow before answers arrive. God, show me that surrender does not mean inaction. It is not passively waiting for you to move while I do nothing. It is doing my part with peace instead of panic, obedience instead of obsession. It is praying as if everything depends on you and working as if my efforts still matter. It is the quiet confidence that my life is not a series of accidents, but a divine collaboration between human will and heavenly design. Let my choices today be rooted in trust, not control, in surrender, not fear. Father, there are burdens I have carried too long, regrets, worries, disappointments, the weight of responsibility I was never meant to bear alone. I bring them all to you now, not as offerings, but as confessions. I am tired of pretending I can manage everything on my own. Take what drains me, heal what haunts me, replace my restlessness with peace. You have never asked me to carry more than I can bear. It is I who add unnecessary weight through my striving. Teach me the discipline of release, the courage of letting go, the freedom of trust. Lord, surrender also asks me to release control over people. I cannot fix those I love, no matter how deeply I care. I cannot force hearts to change, nor can I protect others from every pain. You alone are the mender of souls, the keeper of journeys, the writer of redemption. Let me entrust them to you fully, the ones I fear for, the ones I miss, the ones I do not understand. My love for them is limited, but yours is infinite. Let surrender become an act of intercession, a way of saying, I trust you with what I cannot hold. God, Teach me to surrender my identity to the version of myself I try to maintain for others' approval. Help me stop performing for acceptance. Stop chasing perfection. My worth is not in how well I do, but in who I am in you. When I rest in that truth, I am free to be authentic, to be vulnerable, to be real. Surrender is not losing myself. It is finding who I truly am in the light of grace. Father, I also surrender my past, the mistakes I replay, the guilt I still carry, the moments I wish I could undo. You have already forgiven me. Help me to forgive myself. Let the past become teacher, not tormentor. Let every scar remind me of redemption, not failure. And I surrender my future as well, the plans, ambitions, and fears of what may come. You already stand in tomorrow, shaping it with love. My job is not to control the future, but to trust the one who holds it. Lord, I know surrender is a lifelong journey, not a single moment. It is a rhythm, a daily releasing, a constant return to trust. Some days, I will cling again. Some days, I will forget. But you are patient, always inviting me back, always reminding me that surrender is not a test of perfection, but a relationship of love. The more I yield, the more I receive, the more I release, the lighter I become. And so, God, as this morning unfolds, I place everything, my desires, my fears, my relationships, my work, my whole being into your hands. Whatever comes, let me meet it with open palms and a steady heart. Let me live as one unburdened, unafraid, untethered to control. For in surrender, I find not loss, but life, not emptiness, but fullness, not fear, but freedom. And that, Father, is the peace my soul has been searching for all along. Father, as surrender begins to settle into my heart like gentle rain upon dry ground, I feel something shifting within me quietly, powerfully, completely. This is transformation, not the kind that shouts or demands to be seen, but the kind that happens in the still places where only you and I meet. It is not a sudden change, but a gradual becoming, a slow unfurling of the soul into the likeness of the one it has learned to trust. You do not rush the process, Lord. You shape it with tenderness, chiseling away fear, pride, and doubt until what remains is peace. Lord, transformation is often disguised as discomfort. It arrives through change, through loss, through waiting, through the stretching of faith beyond its old borders. You allow me to walk through fires not to burn me, but to refine me, to draw out what is pure and eternal. And though I once prayed for the storm to pass quickly, I now begin to thank you for the rain that teaches me to grow. For in the soft aftermath of struggle, I always find you waiting, holding something stronger, truer, freer within me than what was there before. God, teach me to recognize the beauty of becoming. Too often, I rush to arrive, forgetting that transformation is not a destination, but a journey of daily renewal. You are not asking me to be flawless, only faithful. Each step forward, no matter how small, is progress in your eyes. Each fall, when met with humility, becomes part of the dance that leads me closer to grace. Transformation is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who I was always meant to be, the version of myself that reflects your love without distortion. Father, change is rarely gentle. It stretches the mind, unsettles the heart, and confronts what I thought I knew. But I see now that every moment of uncertainty is an invitation to trust you more deeply. Transformation requires me to release the illusion of control and to open my hands to mystery. You are not merely improving me. You are recreating me. Every old fear that dies makes room for new courage to be born. Every ending clears space for resurrection. Let me not fear the fire, for you walk in it with me, and from it I will emerge stronger, refined like gold. Lord, help me to notice the signs of your work, even when change feels invisible, the patience that replaces frustration, the compassion that grows where judgment once lived, the calm that lingers where anxiety used to rule. These are quiet miracles, often missed by eyes that look for lightning. Yet they are evidence of transformation, the proof that the Spirit is alive within me. Let me celebrate these subtle shifts as sacred victories, reminders that you never stop molding me into the image of your love. God, sometimes I resist transformation because it requires the death of what is familiar. I hold on to old habits, old wounds, old identities because they feel safe. But you are calling me into something larger than safety, into wholeness. And wholeness cannot coexist with fear. So pry my fingers gently from what no longer serves me. Let me release what keeps me small. I cannot reach for new life while clinging to the past. Help me to trust that everything you take, you replace with something better, even if I cannot yet see it. Father, remind me that transformation is not about escape, but about renewal from within. It is not about leaving behind my humanity, but redeeming it. You do not erase my scars. You make them shine. The very places that once brought pain become windows of empathy through which your compassion flows. My weaknesses, once hidden, become the soil where grace grows best. You do not require perfection, only surrender. And from that surrender comes the strength to rise each day renewed. Lord, I ask for the courage to stay present in the process. Transformation is not always beautiful while it is happening. Sometimes it feels like loss before it feels like liberation. But even in the breaking, there is blessing. The seed must split open before it can sprout. The night must darken before dawn can break. So when I feel undone, remind me that this unraveling is sacred, that you are not destroying me, but redefining me. Let me breathe through the unknown and remember that every transformation begins in the dark before it blooms in the light. God, let transformation not end with me, but flow through me. Change me so that others might glimpse your kindness through my patience, your mercy through my forgiveness, your hope through my endurance. The world does not need perfection. It needs presence. It needs hearts that have been softened by love and strengthened by faith. Let the work you are doing in me ripple outward to my family, my community, even to strangers who might cross my path. Transformation is not only personal, it is contagious when rooted in love. Father, thank you for never leaving me as I was. Thank you for seeing not only what I am, but what I can become. You never lose patience with my slow progress. You never withdraw when I stumble. Instead, you lift. You guide. You whisper truth into my confusion until clarity dawns again. You are the artist who never stops refining his masterpiece. Even when I see chaos, you see creation. Even when I see failure, you see formation. Let that truth anchor me when doubt tempts me to despair. Lord, transformation is a daily resurrection. Each morning is an invitation to rise from old ways of thinking, to shed yesterday's fears, to step once more into faith. As I breathe in this new day, let me remember that the same power that raised life from death is alive within me now. The spirit that transforms darkness into dawn is still at work, turning what once felt impossible into testimony. And so, God, as the light grows brighter outside my window, I yield again to this sacred process. Whatever today holds change, challenge, clarity, or mystery, I receive it as part of my becoming. I am not who I once was, and I am not yet who I will be. But here, in this holy in-between, I am yours. Continue to shape me, mold me, transform me until every part of me echoes the beauty of your presence. Let my life, Father, become a living prayer, an ever-unfolding story of transformation, written in grace and breathed in love. Father, as this journey of prayer unfolds to its quiet horizon, I pause in the soft stillness of this moment. Everything within me feels slower, gentler, lighter, as though a great circle has come to rest, not in conclusion, but in continuation. Each word spoken through these mornings has been a step closer to you. Every whisper of longing, every tear of surrender, every breath of hope has carried me deeper into the truth that you are not distant. You have always been here within, around, before, and beyond. Lord, this path has changed me. What began as a reaching out in weakness has become a rising in strength. I entered this space carrying questions, burdens, and fears. Yet I find myself now standing in the light of peace. You have peeled back the layers of my worry until what remains is trust. You have taught me that faith is not built in ease, but in endurance, not found in noise, but in stillness. I am no longer searching for you in the distance. I have learned to find you in the breath between moments, in the quiet pulse of my heart that beats, because you will it too. God, I look back on the steps behind me and see how gently you have led through every storm. Your hand was steady through every silence. Your presence was constant, even when I thought I was walking alone. You were guiding my pace, adjusting my path, guarding my spirit. The bruises I once resented now carry their own sacred beauty. They are proof of healing, of grace at work beneath the surface. Every chapter has been a lesson, every pause a reminder that transformation is never wasted. Father, you have shown me that renewal is not an event, it is rhythm. Morning after morning, your mercy renews the world, and within that renewal, You invite me to rise again, not as who I was yesterday, but as who I am becoming. I am learning that life with you is not about perfection, but progression, a continual unfolding toward light. Each dawn is a chance to begin again, to forgive again, to believe again. You never tire of giving new beginnings, and for that, my heart rests in gratitude too deep for words. Lord, I thank you for every listener who has walked beside me through this prayer, for every heart that has risen in the early hours seeking peace, for every soul that dared to hope again, for every tear shed in silence that reached heaven's ear. We are not separate wanderers. We are a single family held together by grace, breathing the same sacred air of faith. Bless each one, wherever they are. Meet them in the quiet of their rooms, in the hum of their work, in the ache of their longing. Let them feel your presence like a warm light that fills the empty spaces with peace. God, remind us all that the journey does not end here. These words are not the conclusion, but an open gate. Every new sunrise is another invitation to return, to listen, to be still, to walk again in communion with you. Let this prayer not fade as sound, but live on as rhythm, as heartbeat, as awareness, as a way of being. When we step into the noise of the day, let us carry this calm with us. When night falls again, let us remember that peace is not a place we visit, but a presence that lives within. Father, for those still waiting for answers, whisper to them that delay is not denial. For those walking through darkness, let your promise flicker like a lantern ahead. For those who feel unseen, wrap them in the knowing that you are closer than breath. Remind us that hope is not fragile, it is eternal. It bends but never breaks. It is the melody that outlasts the night. As we breathe in this new morning, let that melody rise in us again, quiet and strong, echoing the assurance that love still reigns, that goodness still wins, that you are still here. Lord, I lift to you every dream that trembles on the edge of becoming, every weary heart ready for renewal, every listener who now stands at the threshold of a new day. May they walk forward lighter, freer, filled with the calm courage that comes from knowing that grace has already gone before them. Let this day be marked not by hurry, but by awareness, not by striving, but by steady trust. And when the world feels heavy again, remind us that we can always return here to prayer, to stillness, to you, God. This morning air feels like a promise, the kind that hums softly, that does not need to shout to be true. The word outside is waking, the wind stirs the trees, the light spills across the horizon, and creation stretches in praise without words. It mirrors what my soul feels now, a quiet renewal, an unspoken peace. Everything is as it should be, because everything is held by you. Father, as the final echoes of this prayer drift into silence, let its spirit linger long after the sound fades. Let every listener carry this peace into their own life, shaping their words, their choices, their days. Let their mornings be filled with awareness, their nights with rest, their hearts with faith that grows deeper with every breath. May this space we have shared become a sanctuary that lives on in memory, in moments of stillness, in every return to gratitude. Thank you, my dear friend, for walking through this sacred journey, for showing up in faith, for opening your heart to the whisper of God's love, for allowing these words to meet you in the quiet of your morning. If these moments have touched you, let them continue to grow by sharing them with a friend who needs light, with a soul searching for peace. Leave your own prayer, your reflection, your gratitude below, so others may feel the ripple of your faith. And if these words have reminded you that hope still breathes, I invite you to stay connected, to subscribe, to share, to keep this rhythm of prayer alive. Together, let us rise each dawn with renewed hearts, keeping faith burning like the gentle flame that guides us home. Outside, the world glows softly now, the horizon brushed with gold, the air trembling with quiet promise. The first light touches the earth like a blessing, and the wind carries the sound of a new beginning. Somewhere in that stillness, the soul exhales, and the morning answers back with peace.